Welcome, guys, to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Wright. Today, we are here with two of the Wrestle friends. We got Eric up here in the top left and Nate down there at the bottom. How we doing, man?
What's up?
We
What's
are
going on, man?
awesome.
What's up,
Hey,
dude?
we're excited. We've been
Happy to
talking
be
about
here,
this
man.
for a while, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
think we
glad we
rescheduled
finally were able to
twice.
get this scheduled. Yeah.
2 months, 2 months. So we're here, and we're on the cusp of the Royal Rumble, shocking Royal Rumble. You
To
guys
say
want
the
to, before
least.
we dive into the Rumble, Eric, do you want to shout out social medias where we can find Wrestle Friends, all that good stuff?
Yes. Hit us up on Instagram. That's the main way. We have a Twitter page as well. I believe it's T TWF Chicago. That's our
Chicago.
Twitter. Yeah, that's our Twitter handle. That
Yeah.
one's new, so we're still working on that one. But Instagram, just the Wrestling Friends. Follow the page, of course. Looking to do more stuff with ILW Pod, so stay in tune for that.
We got a long relationship just now starting. Nate, where can we find you at on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Degeneration Flex. I do film photography, wrestling photography, and also just all types of freelance photography work. But you can find me at Degeneration Flex, one word.
And I guess, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us all at pretty much any Chicago indie just by chance. Check us out at Freelance, AAW, CSW, anywhere. You never know where we're going to pop up. And then, Eric, you guys also do watch parties every once in a while. Where can we stay tuned for those?
Yes. So, like I said, follow the page. We are always dropping flyers, um, a lot of videos of past events. We just had one for the Royal Rumble last night, which was a great success. Packed out Desert Hawk over in Chicago, doing a collab with Smashy Burrito, so shout out to them. Um, but yeah, I mean, just follow the page. We're always got things coming up. February we'll probably have a couple more watch parties. And we'll have some things going on the road to WrestleMania. That'll be probably our next big uh Desert Hawk watch party.
But as far as the Rumble goes, do you guys want to give your initial thoughts? Post Rumble, what was your initial thoughts coming out of this event?
Um, well, mine,
Yeah, go
my
ahead.
biggest takeaway, I couldn't really believe that they really let Charlotte win again. Um,
Okay.
Why?
or
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know. I
Why?
just, I mean, like, it is what it is. It's Charlotte. Um, I was very shocked at Jay Uso. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think I know a person that wasn't shocked at that.
No.
uh,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we'll dive into that a little bit more. Nate, you got
yeah.
any initial thoughts?
I'd say the Jey Uso thing caught me by big surprise. Uh, Before going into it, before the match, I'm like literally sitting here, and everybody's like picking like, oh, it's gonna be Punk, it's gonna be Punk, it's gonna be Punk.
He
And I
was my
thought it was
pick.
too. I was like, it's probably gonna be him. Um, but then my choice was always John. I was like, it's gonna be John Cena. Like, this is his retirement tour. Like, they're gonna give it to him. That'll be his way into, his big match at Mania. And I had the biggest ounce of hope at the final two, and I was just like, no. There's a video somewhere of me just sitting there, just like eyes wide, just like, what just
Yeah,
happened? Because I could not, I did not know that. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that.
I
So
didn't see that on my bingo card.
no, not at all.
I can say if I had to say initial thoughts, um, this was the first time watching wrestling as an adult. I felt like a child again. There's
Okay.
something about Cena being in the ring. It made me feel like, okay, I'm 5, 6 years old. John Cena is going to win the world title. Like that's where I
Yep.
was at. And my fiance, I think it was the first time she looked at me while watching wrestling. Been together 4 years now. She looked at me and was like, "You're a child. Like you're a kid. Like I've never seen you so happy for a wrestling show before." And like
Yeah,
I was on my feet.
I definitely agree with you. I think when I was watching last night, um, it was a fun show. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There was a lot of moments where there was a good pop. I mean, Alexa Bliss returning, Charlotte returning was still a big deal. Jordan Grace coming out, you know what I mean? Like, then you had the men's with Joe Henry and again Cena, like everybody's anticipating Cena, it was just a fun watch. There were so many. I mean, Penta and Rey Mysterio started off too. Like I
Amazing.
thought that was
That was
a very
great.
good start. I love that. Penta has been awesome since getting to the WWE. Um, but yeah, I get exactly what you're coming from with that because it was a really fun watch last night. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the results, but the show itself was good. Show itself was good.
I would go out and say this, like I agree. The this is the first time where it felt like a Rumble felt exciting. It felt you didn't really know, and there was no clue at all
Right.
which way it was gonna go for the women's or the men's Rumble. So I 100% agree how that can be like a little kid moment. Like you feel like a kid again. You got John Cena in the ring, and he's big match John, so he's there from what I think he came out 15 and or what was it? And he was there the whole
Yeah,
last to the end. So it
yeah,
was like, okay, cool, like definitely a nostalgic moment. And then the women's
yeah.
rumble
He
too,
did come
having
out
Trish
early.
come out was awesome too. I felt like a kid again too with that. Like that was cool to say, and that got a huge pop. So yeah,
Like it was one of those like I rarely get overly excited about wrestling anymore, I'll be honest. But I literally like after it went off, uh even though Cena lost, I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I gotta see yeah, we got 365 days to see John Cena. I'm going to see John
Yeah,
Cena. Hell or high water, plane, snow, ship, I don't care. Like I'm going to see John Cena in 2025. And
I'm
he was
I'm
like, How are you
actually
going to make it happen? I was like, I don't care.
I'm trying to debate now. Like I'm trying to figure it out now how I can go to Elimination Chamber in March.
Okay.
Um, did you see his interview after post show?
I believe he said he was going to be in the Elimination Chamber
Yeah,
and that was going
and
to be his ticket.
he said he felt it was in the best interest of the company for him to be world champion again. So he's confidently saying he's going for a 17th world title and he's going to win it. And he said it says it starts at the Elimination Chamber because I guess he's
yeah.
gonna film a movie, so he won't even be on TV for this next month, and he's
Okay.
just gonna be there.
He wants to break the Ric Flair's work.
Yeah, and I think he will. I think he
And yeah,
will. I
I
I
think
think
Flair wants
I
him
want to
to, so
go.
it just makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
that I
I
think
mean,
that's why I really want to go to the Elimination Chamber. I'm gonna try to go. Um, I mean, again, Cena's last Elimination Chamber. You know what I mean? Like he's been in quite a few over time, and each one has been pretty good to me in my eyes. Um, I definitely am gonna try to do that for March. That's what one of my goals is. Even if I just go out there for like 2 days. It's in Toronto, you know what I mean?
It's not too far. It's right up the
Exactly.
lake.
yeah.
Exactly.
Was you guys expecting for the show to start off with Stephanie McMahon?
I forgot
Yeah,
that happened.
yeah. I knew it.
Truthfully.
I
That
mean,
it got
I'm
a
not
pop,
surprised.
man. She got a huge pop. I was actually
Yeah,
surprised about the pop she got, especially with things going on with her dad. But the pop she
yeah.
got was probably bigger than some of the pops that the girls got
I
in the women's rumble.
I think it's got a lot to do with Triple H. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
people just are liking him right now. The
Okay.
turnaround, the way that the company has grown, or like switched. A lot of people like it even more. So I think a lot of it has to do with Triple H and just her being associated with him, to be honest.
Could you guys see her coming back to TV as like in some sort of role?
I don't
I
think she,
could, I
Or she
could,
gets
but I don't
heat
think so.
when she's like when she's mad or bad, she gets heat.
Yeah, I could see her doing it, but I don't think she would. I think
Okay.
considering everything that's going on right now, that last name of McMahon wants to kind of be away as far away from WWE. Well, you know what I mean? Like
I don't
with
know why they
everything
don't
going
just
on.
let her be Stephanie Levesque or Stephanie Helmsley
Helmsley.
or
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
why not just or just Stephanie? People know who Stephanie McMahon is. She could just
right.
come out and it be Stephanie. and we understand
It's
exactly who
it's
it
just
is.
the association, man. Everybody
Yes.
knows her as Stephanie McMahon. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, you
I
don't
think she's got a
you
TV show coming out though.
yeah, she
That's
does. She
all
does.
around her. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
Well,
I think that will make a difference, maybe.
Hmm.
That's why I said I could see it happening.
Okay.
Um, because after that show, who knows what the perception of her is going to be like.
Hmm.
Um, but that's why I said I can definitely see it. Do I think it'll happen? That's a different story.
Okay. Something else that I watched a lot of or was reading a lot of is like there was a lot of rumors that we could get Brock coming back. And then I didn't find it very coincidental that he gets name dropped in a lawsuit the day of the Rumble. So,
Mhm.
like, did you guys think Brock was going to come back at all?
No,
I
no. I
did.
think you did. You did.
I did. I had because what was it? I think I think one of the WWE YouTube channels like posted was posting like Brock Lesnar like a highlight or a clip or something like that. And they like
I
to
think
do
so.
that a lot. They like to kind of drop those teasers. Those like
Yeah,
I think before Edge debut came back, like they
yeah. They
were
did. They
posting
did
like
something
his
like that.
greatest matches or something like that for no
Hmm.
reason.
I don't
Um,
know. I don't know. Me personally, from what I'm seeing, any any rumors, anything like that, I see it's dead. I see that's just dead in the water. His name recently being brought out.
oh, it's cooked now. It's
Yeah,
now it's for
I
sure.
now it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
They
no,
sealed the bag on that one. It's not. He's
yeah,
and
right. I
like if we're
agree.
talking about a WWE career, like he probably ended it the best way by losing to Cody, shaking the hand, walking off in the sunset. So like realistically, it wouldn't even make sense for him to come back.
Yeah, I would leave it at that. Let
Okay.
let let that just die in its place. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else
here's
for
my thing.
Lesnar to do. There's
Here's my
nothing more.
thing too. Okay, Lesnar's whole entire persona is what? The beast, right? Being like this unstoppable guy. There's so many other people you can build that around. You can build you can build Obafemi to be something like that. You can
Braun
build Braun
Breaker.
Breaker to be something like that. You can I
Two.
mean Triple H tries to build Damian Priest like that if we
Mm-hmm.
really think about it.
Yeah.
And like you said, Jacob Fatu. There's a lot of guys that can take that role and fit perfectly, and there's no need to bring him back. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like for what? He's just another person on the roster to me, taking another opportunity away from somebody who's growing and could potentially be better.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
But I just like Opa Family a lot, like me personally.
I, no, I can agree. You definitely can put somebody else over as like your new big baddie. Like I guess
Right,
that's the best way I can put it. Because whenever you hear that entrance music, you know that all right, somebody's taking a dive. Like
right,
Lesnar's going over. You just know,
right.
right? But look at what happened with Cody. Obviously, that is a great way from the walk off. But there's nothing else for Lesnar to do. What more? He was
I
champion.
agree.
Done this. He's done that. He's beat this guy. He's ended the streak. Like there's nothing more. There is no need for Lesnar to come back.
Yeah, I
Did I
agree.
think they were planning on bringing him back for the Rumble? Yeah, but I don't think he was I don't think there's nothing else for him to do. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay. Eric, you brought up a good point about like him being brought in and taking other people's spot. I know this isn't Rumble related, but like recently they did the spot with Goldberg and Gunther. Do you think we'll get any follow up? Like, do you think
yeah.
Gunther will? Do you think that could be a chamber match? Goldberg versus Gunther?
No, I'll say this. I think we do get one last Goldberg match,
Okay.
but it won't be until after WrestleMania, I want to say. Um, if he was gonna do it, Paul Levesque, if he was gonna do it, I would say Backlash maybe.
Okay.
Um, I think that'd be cool because that's I mean, obviously depending on any story writing they got going on, but I mean, Gunther at this point it's looking like may lose the title to Jay, in my opinion, because Jake's been
It
only
makes
talking
sense.
about Gunther. You know what I mean? He won't have a championship unless they try to do a rematch or some of some sort. Maybe they write it that Goldberg kind of interferes. You know what I mean? Kind of similar to how Eddie beat Brock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at what was that? Was it
No
Backlash?
way out.
No Way Out. Yeah, there we go. No Way Out. Um, you know, I mean, that's an avenue they can take, something like that if they really want to. I mean, I personally don't care to see Goldberg in 2025,
Okay.
but I could see the company giving him a farewell match.
Nate, what do you think about Goldberg having a final match?
No,
No?
straight up, no. He doesn't need to. There's
Another
not.
old guy.
It's like I'm gonna go back on like what I said about Lesnar. What else do you want him to do? Not to mention, I got my own opinion and feelings about Goldberg.
Okay.
Um, as a kid, he was somebody that I was really into because he was coming in and squashing guys.
Hmm.
And then you watch it now and you're just kind of like, I don't like that. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
what should have been done was Goldberg should have rode off to the sunset after his match with Brock after he lost, and that should have been it. He came in, did it for his son, that whole spiel, and then call it quits. You know,
I agree.
um,
I
so
agree.
I don't I do I think they'll do something. 100%. They hinted at it. I would not be surprised if going into whatever the next Saudi pay-per-view is.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Yeah, you just
surprised
brought
if
that up.
Goldberg
I can
squashes Gunther and
definitely see
Saudi.
it at
but maybe not even a squash, but in some sort of way, yeah, like
I think
having Goldberg.
I think Goldberg would go down. He'll go down for
Think
Gunther.
he'll go down for the okay. I'd
I
I
think
like
don't.
to
so. I
see
think
it.
if it's
I
his
just
final match, he'll put
tr-
over Gunther, I think.
his track record just speaks for itself. Like he's
Yeah.
not ever really
Well,
been anybody that puts anybody over. So like,
you know why I say this? I think because there was a lot of talks about him getting a final match with other promotions. That
yes,
never happened,
no,
which means I don't think anybody wanted to do it. I don't think anybody cared to do it because he wouldn't put anybody over.
the Saudi
And
Prince
I
wants to
think
do it.
exactly. And I think what I think is if he comes to the WWE and gets it, they'll tell him, all right, well, you can do it, but you're gonna have to put somebody over. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And he's kind of at that point where he does want that last match. One way
Yeah,
or another, he does. And if he's got to do it that way, he'd rather do it with the WWE than any other promotion. You know what I
Just,
mean? That's what I
yeah,
think, at
yeah.
least, if you know. So I think he would put somebody over. He would put Gunther over, especially because it would make sense. I'm sure he wouldn't put somebody over that's like he wouldn't put somebody like Dom Mysterio over. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's got to make
Somebody,
sense to him.
yeah, but Gunther, yeah, I could see it.
okay.
But the biggest problem with that is there's no way Goldberg's having a match with Gunther. Like, if it does happen, you're getting 10 minutes of spear, spear,
Spear,
jackhammer, power
jackhammer,
bomb.
chops,
lariat. Like,
just chops from Gunther. I need to see a chop on from
that's the
Gunther
thing.
too.
Goldberg's not taking chops. I can't
No,
think of a like.
he's the
Yeah.
sting. He's not taking the sting of a chop. He's not messing with it at all.
Oh no, he's curling
That
up. You
P
know.
him, PO him clean off, bro. He is not messing with those chops, especially Gunther chops. Those are no joke.
Yeah.
No. Well,
Hey,
also,
what did you think? Sorry, go ahead.
just throw it out there too. On the topic of Goldberg, another thing, which I don't see Goldberg having a match to was what happened in Saudi with Taker,
Okay,
or was
where he
that
dropped him on
Saudi?
his head. Yeah,
Well, yeah, that he concussed himself before the match and then dropped Taker.
yeah,
Uh, I kind of feel like that also is like something where it's like, I don't know if we'll do this again. Let's not risk it. Because
Right.
to concuss yourself before the match, I get it. Goldberg hypes himself out, but come on, you literally, you know, you went out there after
Shouldn't be
hitting
doing
your
all
head
that.
and you're
Yeah.
bleeding. He walked out bleeding. It was like, what are you doing? So,
okay. Did you guys see the pre-show where there was a sign in the background and it says "Bring back Thick Walter" or
yes,
Thick Gunther? Bro,
yes.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I popped for that.
that was that was
I
good,
popped for
bro.
that. That was a great sight.
Okay, so I appreciate Gunther's work to get down inside. But do you think
I do.
Walter as a wrestler is better than Gunther?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I think he was more aggressive.
Hmm.
He was more of a threat.
Yes.
This new Gunther, like Gunther, is more of a arrogant. I'm better than you. Um, and I don't need to prove it. I just know I'm better than you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Walter was a
Dominant.
brute force
Yes.
that wanted everybody and anybody. You know what I mean? Like that. There's just yeah. I would say yeah. I think Walter to me was more intriguing. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, I feel like Gunther's when he had the IC title, he was a little bit more like that
Yeah.
as far as like attitude and persona and stuff. But once he got this world title, it's been gone. I'm not really a big fan of his current reign. I mean, as much as I like him, current reign hasn't been what I thought it was going to be, like the IC title at least.
I
Okay.
think what the difference between Walter and Gunther is just comes down to he's more heavy, like Eric said, he's heavy into the character work, or the gimmick of the ring general, that,
Mhm.
and being this like arrogant, I'm full of myself. But also the move set was obviously nerfed. Like,
Yeah,
he's working with that WWE methodical style, to kind of keep so other guys can keep up. I hate to say that, but to keep up with Gunther because he might not be fast, he might not be doing,
but
uh
he can do so much
30s,
more. You
but
know what I mean? He just got to simplify it. He has to in order
yeah,
to make it work.
yeah,
I
definitely.
I
So
mean,
think
there's a
especially with somebody like Jey Uso.
yeah.
what got me with Gunther's transition is he still keeps the same. I hate to say this word, but same move set as he had as Walter, but he's smaller. So like a splash off the top rope from Gunther now isn't going to hurt you as much as 300 plus pound
Uh
Walter. Or he does like
yeah.
remember how Andre used to run and he'd set on you like he'd do the jump and he'd
Yeah,
pass that. Well, Gunther does that, but it's not gonna hurt as much from a 240 pound Gunther as it would have a 350 pound Walter. Like
Yeah.
so, like
yeah.
him
I don't know.
change. I think he just would if he changed his move set to maybe more of like a Bret Hart because he's more of
Hmm.
a Bret Hart size now. If we think about it, he's taller, but he's probably more of Bret's size, like stature wise.
Right.
So
True.
it would just make more sense. And he could still be the ring general, but just a different version of the ring general.
Right. I mean I am not opposed to that, you know what I mean? Like you said, he's got to use the size. A lot of those big man moves and stuff like that, like don't hit the same
No,
because he's lost a lot of weight.
exactly. Um,
Hey, but he's in shape like a motherfucker though. So
the
he's
transformation's been crazy.
yeah,
Like they're
yeah,
not the same. You look at them side by side, they're not the same human being,
yeah.
and you could swear by it.
Yeah. Uh,
Nate, what was your initial like reaction to the women's rumble? Like right after it's over, what did you think about it overall?
I loved it. I loved the women's rumble completely, almost a little bit more than the men's rumble, to be honest. I think it was well put together. I think the surprise entrants were great. I think everybody did what they had to do. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm not the biggest Bella's fan, but I did like the fact that they brought her out for 30. So that was cool. That got a really great pop. Trish Stratus being in it was, we knew there was gonna be a legend, but it being Trish in it was awesome. That was great. And uh Charlotte winning was great too. And I know that Eric says otherwise, and a lot of people are gonna say otherwise, but it's who do you have win it? Like my original pick was Io. And that's who I
that was
thought.
mine too. That was mine
Yeah.
too.
I for some reason I've seen a bunch of like propaganda, like I hate using that word, but I've seen a bunch of posts about like Io doing this and Io that, and I was like, all right, you know what? I see that. That makes that would make sense. But I wasn't mad at the Charlotte win. I think it's cool. It puts her right in the back in the place where she needs to be because Charlotte's amazing. She's got the skill, she's got the talent. She it's awesome. So it makes sense. And also Alexa Bliss returning
That was awesome. I
that was
I
great too.
knew I had four predictions for returns during that match, and I got two wrong and two right. Um, the two I got wrong were Becky Lynch and Jade Cargill. They did not
Mm.
appear. I thought they would. The two I got right were Alexa Bliss and Jada Parker. Knew she was going to be in there. Um, I loved the fact that they went into that NXT bag and
Yes.
brought a fair amount of NXT stars. I agree. I agree with you, Nate. I had more interest in the women's than I did the men's.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because they had so many more surprises. Like, okay, Julia, Stephanie, Lash Legend, um, you said Trish Stratus also came out, the legend. Who else? There was somebody else from NXT that I'm missing. Roxanne. I'm sorry,
Roxanne
Roxanne.
Perez.
Coming in at number three. I knew she was gonna be in it, but she came in at number three and was part of the last two. I personally think if you were gonna do that and make her the Iron Woman in this match and go all the way, I think she should have just won it, me personally. There's already talks about her going up to the main roster. There is nothing left for her to do in NXT. I mean, you know what I
What would
mean?
you, with that said, what would you think about, sorry to cut you off, but
No,
what
you're
would
good,
you
you're good.
think about I know Charlotte's done it in a way, but like called out an NXT star, but what if Roxanne was to win, call out Julia, but not do it at Stand and Deliver? Have
And do it
Roxanne
at
and Julia
WrestleMania.
on the WrestleMania card because
I
it's a
I
Rumble.
I would
It's a main
I
event of
would love that.
WrestleMania, so like that'd be a great way to showcase two of
Yes,
your best women in NXT and put them on the main
exactly.
roster.
Yeah.
And think about that. That's great.
I would yes. Julia and Roxanne have fought a couple times already. I think they have good chemistry. I've
Yes,
always liked Roxanne. I'm lying. I like her as a heel. Her babyface work was not the greatest,
eh.
but in ring I've always liked her.
Yes,
Um, she's definitely like really good, you know. So I think the more exposure for her, the better. Um, like I said, I mean, her and Julia WrestleMania, like that's somewhere down the line. You know what I mean? I just think when it came to the Royal Rumble, we just did like to me, Charlotte didn't need to win the Royal Rumble. You can do whatever you want with Charlotte. She doesn't lose star power.
she's
She
gonna
can
go to
go
WrestleMania and main event something
anyways.
regardless. So
Anyway, she
yeah,
can go in and just say, I demand a match, and they'll just do it. You know what I mean? She didn't necessarily need to win the Royal Rumble. I think that could have been an opportunity for somebody else, younger. Even if they were gonna lose at WrestleMania, like, you know, still. But hey, it is what it is. Charlotte versus Tiffany is gonna be good. Um,
Yeah.
I already know that
but
that's probably the direction they're gonna go
what if
in.
we get the rematch of Charlotte versus Rhea?
I will be upset. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that again.
I'm
no.
gonna look.
I don't want to see it
I'll
again.
be the one that's the opposite because I love their first match. I'm not gonna lie. Rhea versus Charlotte at WrestleMania that year was probably one of my favorite matches on the card.
Was that the
They
one during that was the one during the pandemic?
no
It
No,
was after.
no Hollywood WrestleMania Hollywood where
Where Charlotte won, right? And she called out Rhea because
no
Rhea was
no that
NXT
was where
champ.
Rhea won. Called out Charlotte. It was
I'm
the
sure it
same
would be.
mania. It was the same mania where the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens main evented.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, yeah. I know what you're
That
talking
one.
about.
That
Mhm.
one. That was probably my favorite match on that card. Arguably.
That one
I'm
was
not gonna lie.
it was a good match. It was. Like I said, I think them two have good great chemistry. My whole
Yes.
thing is like
We've seen it.
Charlotte versus Tiffany is a first time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And there's more time for Rhea and Charlotte. I think it would be their what third match or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It'd be the
Yeah.
third Mania
There's
match for
time.
sure.
Yeah, there's more time. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think that as far as the women's rumbles goes, they're always good, but I think they ran out their star power within the first couple. Like you had all your legends come out the first two or three. And since then, yes, we have all the NXT call ups or all the NXT bring ups or the random TNA spot. But something I think overall with the Rumble we're missing is the legends. Like that's what we all used to watch the Rumble for was the
Right.
4 to 5 legends that show up throughout the Rumble.
I
And we
was
didn't get this.
expecting AJ Lee. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting AJ Lee.
Yes.
I know we're looking at Nathan already. I know I'm crazy.
Dude.
I just thought she would do a one-off just to do
Just
it.
one, bro. I just want one. Her Bailey in a Rumble just for a second. Her Roxanne in a Rumble
Roxanne
just
had
for
me
a
stand up.
second
That's what I'm saying.
would be
I mean,
great.
Roxanne had a standoff with Nikki Bella, and it was good. You know what I
It
mean?
was okay, but nobody wants
Yeah.
Roxanne Perez versus Nikki Bella. We want
Of course,
Roxanne Perez
yeah.
versus AJ Lee.
Right.
I think everybody wants AJ Lee versus anybody at
Yeah,
this
honestly.
point. The only reason I threw my hands up in the air was I like AJ. I was a fan when she was wrestling. I only threw my hands in the air because she's like made it very clear that she does not want to wrestle. She's done. So like
Oh,
I know it's very and I'm gonna use the word, it's very marky to sit there and be like, she's like, yes, like we're getting AJ, like please, like come out and get excited for it. And I understand it, but I immediately I shut those rumors out of my head, like immediately. I was like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. She does not want to wrestle. And Punk fueled everybody's brain
oh
with
yeah,
that
he
t-shirt.
he had us
Oh
ready.
my God.
He knew exactly what he was doing when he dropped that line. Because Twitter ran rampant.
But
They
those are the things though that could get her to do it. Punk going out there and going into business for himself and saying, "Look, guys, you know who's going to be in it," and the crowd loves it. They eat it up every time. We eat it up every time.
Yep.
So like, that's if anything's going to pull her out of retirement, it's those moments. It's Punk going out there and
That's what
saying,
I'm
"You guys
saying.
want
A
it."
one-off is not impossible.
No,
Like, as much as someone doesn't want to do it long term, doesn't mean that they won't do it one more time.
Who,
That's
who do you put her against though?
I don't
Roxanne?
know. I
let
think
her lay
so.
down for Roxanne.
Yeah.
I
Or
could
Let
see
her
Bailey.
that.
lay down even for, I mean, Bailey, that's Bailey's dream match. And we almost
Right.
had it.
Right.
So like Bailey getting called up happened just after AJ left. Well, a year or so, 2 years after. But like
Right.
she was in NXT, AJ was on the main roster, like Paige was already going up, stuff like that. So like we could have had it. So like
I
it
I
just makes
think
sense.
I think if you were to do it now, then Bailey. If you're gonna do it in like 5 years, then
Roxanne.
Roxanne. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think. 'Cause
Even a
get
triple
Roxanne,
threat.
let Roxanne grow a little bit more, you know?
Could you I mean even a triple threat would work because you get a two and
Yeah.
one.
That would be crazy though.
And then
That
AJ
would
doesn't
be
even have
like
to take the pin. If you think about it, we just get
that
her in a
would be
match.
insane.
You could
And just
hide
to
any
have
ring
that.
rust. Like
Right.
a triple threat might even be even, and then you get two dream matches in one. You situate the positives. If I'm saying that right, and you hide the negatives, and we all get what we want.
Right. I saw a rumor.
Yeah.
I
That's
was
a
looking online
that's
earlier
a great way
today.
to book it.
I saw a rumor that the next steps, I guess, or like the next feud for like Liv Morgan is gonna be Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss. So I guess that's gonna be Alexa Bliss's like first big feud, I guess. And
Feud.
it should, I guess, go into WrestleMania. Like that could potentially be their matchup at WrestleMania. Which I wouldn't mind. I mean, why not?
Do you
You know what I
think
mean?
we'll always have the Fiend's version of Alexa Bliss now that Bray's gone?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
How do you feel
I
about that?
mean, like it won't be like a full on like
No, I don't
evil,
think we'll
but
get the
like
full
the hints of it.
spooky,
Yeah, the hints
but
of it will
like
be there.
the
It won't
the
be Nikki
get up.
Cross, I'll tell you that.
So like I think we'll always have the Lily. Is it Lily doll? I think that's
Yeah,
doll's
Definitely.
name, but I think we'll always have that. She'll always have the makeup and she'll always have the darker look.
yeah, I
But
agree.
which
I would like if she went back. It's the goddess,
that's what I was
but
gonna say. Like as much as I love the Fiend, I think honestly the era of him and Alexa Bliss was like the worst era of the Fiend. It's I love it when people do a homage to him or whatever, but the best version of Alexa Bliss was the goddess Alexa Bliss.
I
Yep.
agree. I agree.
100%. Yeah. I think
So like, go ahead. Sorry.
uh, I do think I something tells me it might be a one-off. Maybe she did it as a return to kind of pay homage because the last time we seen her, you know. So maybe just like hey to tribute to Bray and because I don't see her being in the Wyatt Six. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that
Or
either.
being having any ties. And I feel like if you keep her in that character, like the whole like Bray Wyatt version, the Fiend version, um, people are gonna speculate. It's gonna be it might cause confusion, I don't know. But I do think that I don't I would hope that she doesn't keep it and she goes back to the goddess just to avoid any of that tie-in. Like let her have her own thing. Like you said, I do think the worst part of the Fiend era was with Alexa Bliss doing all the
I agree.
shenanigans. So
I agree
My
100%.
I guess my follow up question just to the women's rumble would be if it's not Charlotte Flair who wins the match, who would you have picked?
It should have been EO. It should have been EO, in my opinion. I think it should have been EO, and we could have gotten EO versus Rhea.
Okay.
Um, and then it would have made more sense for me, at least, if Charlotte would have had a little bit more of a build up, maybe going into Elimination Chamber, earning a title shot there. I'll take that more so over than the return at the Royal Rumble and winning it. And what was she like, number 26 or something like that? Like, it was a
Yeah,
pretty
she was
late
later in
number.
24, 26, something like that.
Yeah, it was a pretty late number too. So like, I mean, maybe if you were gonna make her come out at like 8, sure, I feel like you could have did it a little better either way. But I think EO should have done it. I mean, EO's got money in the bank. She's been the WWE champion. Why not why not also give her the Royal Rumble and then she can become world champion. I mean, she was a good champion in my eyes. I liked it. But I don't know. I like Io Sky. I'm a big Io Sky fan. So that's
What
just
about you,
my
Nate?
take
What
on
do
it.
you think?
my choice was EO too.
Okay.
I'd probably say I thought Bailey for a second, but then I remember Bailey had just
Man.
won it recently. I don't
Yeah,
think
last year.
she won it last year, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so then that went in my mouth. Okay, scrap that idea. Uh, but EO would probably be. I'm also that biased on that because I do like EO a lot, and I really, really, really enjoy her matches. Um, but EO was my choice because, like you said, EO versus Tiff would have been great, or EO versus Rhea would be great too. Like I feel like Io's got enough where she can work with both of those styles and make something great come of it. So that was my choice, and that's why I wanted to win it. But I'm
You
cool
know
with
what,
Charlotte
too?
too.
You know what I also kind of liked about Io because from what I can see, Triple H likes to push Io and Rhea. Like they hardly lose, you know what I mean? So what happens when they face each other? Like who really wins that? You know what I mean? And I would have been interested to seeing the booking behind that and how that happens. But hey, you know what? If it's Charlotte, she's gonna go after Tiffy. I think they'll have a good match. I will actually be looking forward to them too. I
Who's
did
got the
want to
better
see her.
moonsault?
You're
Sorry, I
right,
didn't mean to cut you off. Who's
exactly.
got the
Yeah.
better
No,
moonsault
you're right. I don't know. I
though?
think Tiffany does in my eyes.
Yeah, Tiffany hits that moonsault pretty nice. So but
The
Charlotte's is
hops.
clean. Charlotte's is clean too, but
Yeah, it
I
is.
like Tiffany's better. So
Yeah.
You know, I'm going. Nate, you mentioned Bailey, and that's
mm,
honestly, I know she won it last year, but if we think about the four horsewomen of NXT, Bailey gets the least amount of credit out of all four women. Like
100%.
every so like I think a Bailey back-to-back Rumble win for one would have cemented her as probably one of the best women on the roster, if
She
not
would have
now,
been
if
the
not of all
first
time,
ever woman to win back-to-back too,
back-to-back. So
which would
like
have really cemented her name. So I could see that.
exactly. That's where I was at in like she was healed. She's been healed for quite some time. And then she broke up from Damage Control and she had her title reign, which was good. But I think if you really wanted people to get behind Bailey again, and I don't think we'll ever get Hugger Bailey back, but like something that was close to that level, a a back-to-back Rumble win, and then a main event against Rhea Ripley, who's another one of the hottest females on the roster. Like
Right.
I know it's babyface on babyface, so like people don't always like that, but if anybody can pull it off, it's the role model and mommy.
Yeah. I could see, yeah. I mean, I'd be interested in that. I mean, they're never really on the same brand up until now.
Exactly.
Anyway,
So like
so they've never really had
which
too
and they've
many
teased it a
opportunities against each
lot.
other.
So like I honestly
Right.
think that's the route they're going anyways. And like a Bailey Rumble win would have been much better received than a Charlotte Rumble win.
I I I think so too.
You have
Honestly.
15, I what's Charlotte, 15 or 14
Well,
time women's champion?
I mean, now that brings us to Elimination Chamber though, because obviously there will probably be a chamber for the women's opportunity,
Yep.
which I'm sure will include Io Sky and Bailey, since they're both on Raw.
And then we got
Um,
that damage control throwback.
right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's avenues. I mean, I'm curious as to who is gonna face Rhea because I think it's pretty obvious Charlotte's going after Tiffany.
What with that said, I'm going with Bailey. Well, who do you think? We have to go into WrestleMania. Who's fighting Rhea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want
Nate?
EO again? Um, Man, I don't. I would say EO, like, because that'd be my Rumble pick. But if I'm just spitballing and picking somebody, I don't know. I don't. I'm gonna say EO just by default because I can't sit there and think about who goes.
The thing is too is that there's also an Intercontinental Championship there now, a women's one.
Yeah.
So
Who goes
She's
after
excellent,
Chelsea?
by the
you
way. I while we're at it,
100%.
shout out to Lyra Valkyria. She is absolutely amazing. Just gotta give her a shout where credit's due.
I think that will be Becky Lynch's spot. I'm gonna throw
Okay.
that out there.
I like that.
Against
They
Rhea.
no, against Lyra, I guess
Oh,
for the
oh,
IC title at WrestleMania. They had a match at NXT where Becky put
I
Lyra over.
forgot about that.
They're from the same area. They have a lot in common. They know a lot of the same people. This would be either Becky putting her over again, or um, I mean, I think Becky would put her over, honestly.
I don't.
I mean, I could see Becky getting her get back and then they rolling it back again later on.
Maybe.
I know, like right after Mania, they usually go over and do a Europe tour.
Right.
So, like, I could see them doing something like that. I think Clash of the Castles in France, which isn't very far from Ireland. I know it's not Ireland, but
Right.
not too far. So, like, I could
No,
always see
they changed it. It's not Clash at the Castle because
it's
it's
Clash of
not
Paris, isn't it?
something like that.
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah, because it's going to be in France.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's like Clash at Paris or Clash at the something tower, something like that. I don't remember.
so I kind of want to bring up the tag match.
Yeah, I
I went outside for that match. I'm not gonna lie. I went outside and went
it's
for a walk.
bro, it sucks because they're so good and they've had so
Yes.
many good matches and they I don't think it was their fault, but the match, for lack of better words, it really shit the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just think it was super overshadowed. I
Yeah,
think it was very, very overshadowed. You had a very good women's rumble, and then you transitioned into that. I don't think they got as much time as they should have. I think the match could have
no,
been a little long. I think with the Street Profits being there, I didn't have a problem with that ending, to be honest with you. Because I think this creates a triple threat at some point.
It
And
didn't do
me
much
personally,
for me though. I'm not gonna lie. It was just kind of there at
I
that.
agree. I agree. It doesn't really do much, but um, if you try to put a positive spin on it, I don't mind Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, and DIY in a triple threat tag match. I mean, honestly, if you want to even make it
TLC,
like, yeah, right,
I
you
was
want to
just
make it
about
like
to
a,
say that.
yes, something
TLC.
like that, then I will gladly tune in. Um, it would make me feel better about this past match. You know what I mean?
Even
If
if it
that's the
was at like
goal.
a Saturday night's main event or something,
Right,
just as
right.
like a
Yeah,
showcase
exactly.
match. Yes.
Exactly. I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, I like all three of those teams. I mean, I like I used to like the Street Profits a lot more. They just have fallen off. I'm honestly on the bandwagon of Montez Ford turning into a solo guy. He
Look,
reminds
I'm
me,
actually more interested in Dawkins single run.
really?
I'm not
Oh
gonna lie.
man.
Yes, I'm probably the rare one that wants to see what Angelo Dawkins is gonna do in the singles run because I think he's so underrated.
Right. I mean, here's my thing. I see um Montez Ford like I see Anthony Bowens in
Okay.
AEW.
Okay.
Um, I think they both carry themselves with a lot of charisma, a lot of
Hmm.
energy. They know what they're doing on the mic. They know what they're doing in the ring. They're very athletic. And I think even though Dawkins is the big man, I think Ford carries a lot of the weight in my eyes. I mean, I don't know. He's the one that's on the mic. Angelo Dawkins is rarely
Yeah.
on the mic because he kind of sucks on the mic. So you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Nah, you're right. You're right on the
I'm all
mic
for
skills.
if it were up to me, I'd split them up. I'd have Montez going after the US title on SmackDown, and I'd have Angelo Dawkins trying to compete for the NXT title on NXT. And I'd let
It'd be a
him,
good way for him to build himself back up.
yes, I would let him do what they're doing with Rich Holland. You know what I mean? I got, why not let him go on a run and try to build himself up as a credible big guy? He's not credible to me right now. I don't really care much for him, at least in my eyes. You know what I mean? Montez is the one doing all the athletic stuff. I don't know if you remember the Elimination Chamber he was in,
Yeah, where he did like
where he did that drop from the top of the
yes.
cage. You know what I mean? He's a lot more exciting to watch in my eyes.
So you
Um
basically,
yeah, go ahead.
so basically, Max Caster and Dawkins are basically Marty Jannetty. Is what you're saying, Eric.
I guess, yeah, bro. I
You
guess
know,
so.
with recent events, and it's gonna sound messed up, but like I hate comparing anybody to Janetti just
Okay,
because of all the
on the
flack
tech.
or the stuff that Janetti's in nowadays.
That's very true. Let me rephrase
But
that.
like from a
In a
tag
tag
team
team,
perspective, it
yeah,
makes sense, and that's
you're
what
showing you
everybody
got your
says.
mark. Yeah.
But I like that's I hate using that reference now just because. And don't get me wrong, I love Marty Jannetty for what he did in the ring.
Hmm.
And I'm just gonna throw it out here: if Marty Jannetty wanted to be on my podcast, I would not say no.
Right.
But in recent events, it's been rough.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I forgot about a lot of that, but at the tag team aspect, that's yeah, because I've heard that too. Like people use that, and if you did get Marty Jannetty on the podcast, be ready. That'd be one
That'd
hell
be
of a time.
great.
That'd be one hell of a time.
um,
Now,
go ahead.
I want to say probably one of my favorite moments from yesterday was that Alabama Slam.
Ooh,
Cody did
Cody.
to
Yeah,
Owens through the
I think
ladder.
the Fisherman Buster on the ladder bridge. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I think might have been uh, the most brutal part. The way Cody bounces was
Yeah.
freaking sick. I was like, oh my god. I don't know. There's been very few times where I've watched a wrestling match and I felt it, and I felt it. I was like,
Right.
that he's feeling that right now as we speak, he is in pain.
I was actually surprised at the way that that match went. I didn't expect them to kind of go out like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They never really, at least in WWE, Cody's matches are never really like violent, I guess. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. He's
he had
protected.
it right. Like he had that one street fight with fucking AJ Styles. Was it a street fight? Or I quit
I
match. I'm
quit.
sorry.
I quit
Yes, the
match.
I quit match. And
And
that
the
was so just
ending
like a
was weak.
letdown. Yeah,
So
like it
weak.
was just such a letdown, you know what I mean, for an I quit match. And that's why. So I was a little shocked to see some of the spots that happened, but I thought it was cool. I mean, I would like to see more of that. You know what I mean? The Cody good guy is just kind of getting a little stale in my eyes.
I need that hair to go black.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need that hair to go black, man.
Amber says that all the time. She just wants
I'm,
his hair to go black.
I'm, I like Cody. Don't get me wrong. Nothing against him, but yeah, the American Nightmare, woohoo. I'm doing this like it's played its role, you know.
Right. It did what it needed to do. Let's move
He
on.
got his WrestleMania win, you
It's
know what I'm
what
saying?
three? We're on year three now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
or three?
Yeah.
I think it's time for what was it? 2017 Ring of Honor Cody Rhodes to come out. Like
In
peak
the
Bullet
suit, black
Club,
hair.
Cody Rhodes, black hair, suit,
Hmm.
and he's Cody's better heel. Like he's a
Yep.
good baby face, but he's better heel. And like I know everybody's like, let's get Homelander Cody, but I don't my interest is not in Homelander Cody. Like
No.
I don't think the broader scale has seen Ring of Honor kiss the ring Cody Rhodes.
No.
Like with Brandy at his side, you know, it just on a WWE scale it worked and it worked a lot better than I think it even did in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Yeah, and he can keep the American Nightmare name. He can keep it
Right.
literally. He can keep the American Nightmare name, but just flip it. Change the colors of it and turn it black and white or whatever you want to do and still be it and
That's
just be a heel. It's
a
a whole
whole
nother
nother
version of the
avenue.
American
Yeah.
Nightmare, you know,
Yeah.
like yeah,
Takes it
the hair
up a
needs to go
notch.
black. Yeah, the hair needs to go black. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it soon. Maybe after Mania, or maybe after he loses his belt.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
I think that's
I
when.
keep saying
Yeah.
what I think is gonna happen is I think he'll drop the belt. He'll some other stuff will happen. He'll go that direction and then
Mm.
point eventually become the world champ on Raw instead
So
of because I
But
think they're gonna want to keep him on Netflix.
who dethrones Gunther?
Jey Uso.
Jey Uso, main event. Got
Hey,
to, man. There's no other way, which we'll get into it, but he has
he wouldn't have won the Royal Rumble
to.
if he wasn't
If
if
he
that wasn't
wasn't
going to be the
taken,
plan. Yeah. I don't
that pop's gonna be crazy.
I don't believe that they are going to set this man up to lose a third or fourth match against Gunther.
Can't.
I don't he keeps saying I know I can beat him. I know I can beat him. They did this with Chad Gable and fumbled it completely
He's way
with
too
the
over.
IC title. Yeah.
He Jey Uso is the most over human being on the planet. I don't care in any promotion, no other crowd is doing yeet
Doing that.
like Jey Uso is.
Yeah.
It's just not happening, man. Like they
Like
have to
yeah.
No,
pull the trigger. Otherwise,
The,
I'm just gonna say it, WWE's dumb. If they don't pull the trigger on it, they're dumb.
it's
the,
just pointless because why are we doing it? Like
Exactly. Why are we cheering for this man so much if you're just gonna make him lose and lose and lose? Like that's how you make
the LA
stars.
Knight effect.
he also like I mean
LA Knight
he
effect.
oh he pop for Jey Uso to win over John Cena last night
Yeah, it's
kind of
crazy.
is the and again I you know I don't I'm not the big Jey Uso guy, you know, but I do understand that yeah he's over as hell and they
Bro,
love it.
he's like top five in
That's
merchandise
not
selling. I
even
think
like over isn't the word for what
Yeah,
he is. Like it's insane.
it's almost
man,
it's almost Joe Hendry level of
yeah,
being
well
over. Both
Beyond
I'll
Joe
tell you
Hendry level.
this. I'll tell you this. I went to Survivor Series
Hmm.
Last year in Chicago, with Jey Uso coming out, and he was so over. This is when he was going up against the Judgment Day
Okay.
in the War Games match,
Hmm.
and he was so over. The entire crowd was so loud just for Jey Uso doing Yeet. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think that alone, the way the crowd reacts, I mean, it warrants something. You know what I mean? He's got to win something at some point. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting somebody who's over.
While we're on the topic of the Usos, what do you do with Jimmy?
I
You know what?
What do
I
you
Let
think
him
do
win
with?
the U.S. title.
yeah,
I
I
could
think
see
so.
that.
Give him the
I
U.S.
think so.
strap.
Shin. It's gonna beat Shin.
Oh, but no, okay, take it off Shin first, and then let him beat whoever beats
And
Shin.
then
Don't.
who though?
I
So
don't know,
here are
but I
your
don't.
options. Here are your
Dude,
options.
make
I'll tell you this. Here are your options. If you want to do it that way, who beats Shin? Andrade? Are you cool with Andrade losing to Jimmy?
no.
Is it Carmelo Hayes? Are you cool with Carmelo Hayes losing to Jimmy? He just lost to Jimmy and it was really dumb. Um, who else is in that division? LA Knight. Are you okay with LA Knight losing to Jimmy
No.
Uso?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Um,
yes, actually,
I mean,
LA Knight,
okay.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so then that's a possibility. Who
But
else?
you
Who
could
else
have
is
him
in
just
there?
fluke win it. Like it doesn't have to be. He could roll up Shinsuke. Like Shinsuke goes for the Kinshasa. Jimmy rolls
And
him
roll
up,
up. I
gets
don't know, but
the.
Jimmy ain't that smooth, man. Jimmy is not that
No,
smooth.
he's
Yeah,
not.
that's the reason why I don't think you let Jimmy take the belt off Shinsuke is it's automatically gonna turn sour. The fans are gonna turn on that immediately. They're not gonna
But
pop for
then
it.
you give it to an Andrade or a Carmelo, and the
Yeah,
pop for that is gonna be like just make Jimmy don't have to hold it long. He can be
no,
a transitional guy, but like just to give him something. He deserves
yeah,
it. He's
Yeah,
been
you
here
no.
know,
for 20 years. Like he deserves it.
he needs a gimmick.
Yeah.
And that's what
This is his
That's
gimmick
that's
the
what
now,
gets
though.
him,
problem.
He's got a gimmick now, I think.
which is what
But he's
like
just
I
Jimmy
mean,
Uso.
it's
yeah, like
Big Jim, bro.
Bro, nobody I
Big
look,
Jim.
I hate to say it, but nobody cares about Big Jim.
yeah. There's nothing like Yeet. Jimmy struck gold or Jay struck gold with
Yeet
Yeet.
by
Yeet.
That
accident.
Yeah.
yeah, and Yeet's a what 2016
Oh,
phrase
it's an
like it's
old phrase.
old, and you managed to get it over with the crowd. You managed to get it over in general. Like
Look,
shot,
Jimmy
but
might as well
what
go out
the
there and start doing the dab. Might as well just start dabbing, see if it gets over.
Yeah. Right. At that point,
who used to dab? There's somebody that used to dab when they before they'd who
TJ
dabbed?
Perkins,
Ugh. I like him.
TJP.
I like his New Japan stuff though. I didn't like his WWE run, but I do like his New Japan stuff. But I do remember the dab and being sitting there and being like what?
the
Yikes!
dab.
Yeah.
Oh man, the
But
dab.
look, before we get into like the men's rumble, I want to go back to Cody. And
Okay.
it's something I've thought about a lot. If we're doing a heel turn, one of my favorite heel turns of all time was when Punk turned heel while he was champion and he clotheslined The Rock. And if Cody could do something similar, because if he's just
Huh.
like, look, I'm tired of Rock coming in, I'm tired of Cena coming in, I'm tired of all these old guys coming in, Goldberg coming in and taking my spotlight. I've been building this, I've held the title, and just out of nowhere,
Let me pitch this.
go ahead.
Okay, so Jey Uso wins the Rumble, goes
Mhm.
after
I know
Gunther.
exactly what you're about to say. I have a feeling I know exactly what you're about to say.
And John Cena wins the Elimination Chamber. So he's going after Cody. Cody decides, you know what? I'm not really liking this. And there's your turn. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's an avenue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. That's, Cody and John Cena, WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it makes sense like what Justin said. Like you have Cody, you have him do this whole thing of like, oh, the part-timers, even though John Cena is full-time now, but the legends are
Oh, he's still
taking up.
part-time. That man made one appearance in January, will not be there in
Well,
February.
Listen,
like
we're
even
not
even like Roman Reigns. Roman's not here every week, but you guys
Right.
love the tribal chief. Like he's not here. So like
I agree.
all these
That's my
guys you
beef with
love
Roman not
aren't
being
on
there.
TV ever. And I love Roman Reigns. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. And
no,
like
but his
I've
schedule,
defended Roman for years for not being on TV from like my siblings because he's so good. He doesn't have to show up. But from a Cody turning perspective, it just makes sense. Like just to call out because Cody's there every week. He wrestles at every house
Right.
show. Like he defends his championship and he's there. And these guys aren't. So like and then they come in and the fans love him and like Cody's put on the back burner until Cena's done or he's put on the back burner until Tribal Combat's over or until The Rock's done being the final boss. Like he has a good point to be a bad guy. And the best bad guys have a good reason for why they deserve to be like just like Kevin Owens. Like you can't be mad
Right.
at Kevin because Kevin's right in a way. But it's
I'm on Kevin Owens' side
look, I wanted
fully.
Kevin to win. I'm not gonna lie because
Me too.
that's something else I was
same.
gonna say. Kevin, it's been way too 10 years, 9 years since Kevin Owens has had a major championship at all. It's too long. He's
I
best one of the
agree.
best characters on the whole roster. There's no
I
reason
saw a
Kevin.
post. I saw a post today that was like Kevin Owens is just good at what he does. You know what I mean? Like he's just good on the mic. He keeps things interesting, changes his character with what's going on. I mean, I'll say this, even in the dark days of WWE, his little segments with fucking Ezekiel,
They were
um,
good.
like you know what I mean? They were so funny. Like he had there was Elias's like what was his brother,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Elias and Ezekiel.
That bro,
jeez.
that was like funny. That was just so funny because he was like everybody's like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "Are you guys kidding me?" And he ran with it. It was pretty funny for him, like something for him. Then like everything leading up to the match with John Cena, like he had I mean, I'm sorry, with Stone Cold.
That was
Um,
great.
That
Where he
was
put the ball
great.
cap
and then
on.
if
I loved it.
yes, and then if you think like in the segments leading up to that, he him and Seth Rollins were that's when Seth Rollins didn't have an opponent. And
Mhm.
Seth Rollins was like, I need to find my way onto WrestleMania, and he tried to steal the idea from like Kevin Owens, and they had like a few banter segments
Yeah.
about that. Like he's so good at just staying relevant with whatever's going on, whoever's the champion. You know what I mean? Even if it's the small things, small segments, seeing Kevin Owens on TV is beneficial any way you put it. So, I mean, I would have liked for him to have won the title. I think it would have been the best um option, but I don't see Cody losing that title anytime soon. I don't even think Cody's gonna lose it at WrestleMania. I think he's gonna win. I don't care who his opponent is. I
Well,
think he's winning.
I think that's where the point that like Cody turning bad because of like the legends comes in. You have Cody go against Cena at Mania, right?
Mhm.
And then you have Cena put Cody over, and then you have Cody do something that's like like how you said about the Rock and Punk moment. You have Cody do
Important
something,
comeback.
maybe Cena's obviously gonna go for a handshake at the end of the match, right? And you go right there and you knock it out. And that's the blow off to Mania. Like that's the big ending. He turns on him, and you get the kind of the Daniel Bryan thing, retirement type deal where it's like he got his ass stomped in and at the end of the show, and that's how you fade away and go to the dark. So that's how
Right.
it does make sense, and it's like a good way to do that.
In like WrestleMania last year, we ended with the most feel good moment. So what way to follow that up by this year giving us the bit like a big swerve. Like, okay, John Cena's going for his 17th title win against Cody Rhodes. He loses. And then we're supposed to be happy for Cody, but nobody's happy for Cody.
Right.
So he's like
Right.
Cody just is like, you know what? F you. F him. I'm the champ. You guys were behind me until he came back. You can't even see him. Like, get that shit out of here. And
Right.
it just makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like I said, the character itself is pretty stale now.
Yes.
Um, but something new. It's just needing something new.
What did
You,
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, give me 1 second. I'm gonna plug my laptop in. I'm just gonna step away for a second.
All right.
Huh?
Eric, what did you think about like having all the legends in the crowd and not really using them?
Not having them involved, but just
Yes.
being there.
Yes.
Um, it does nothing for me, honestly. I'm gonna be honest. Like sure, it's cool to see some of the legends there, but I agree with the standpoint. I don't know if you've ever seen the Dominic Mysterio interviews where he's like, I'm tired of all these old old wrestlers coming back around
Yeah.
for what, you know what I mean? Like I agree with that. I don't
Okay.
see the point in a lot of them. Like if you're gonna come by to just come by, sure. But like, do they really need to broadcast it? You know what I mean? Do I really need to see Mark
Yeah.
Henry in the stands? You know
No.
what I mean? Like
Sometimes it's
do
really cool. Like I
if
think
it's
like
someone different, like you know what I mean? Like when who was it that was just at the last event? What was the last event before Royal Rumble?
the Saturday Night's main event.
Maybe where somebody was in the I think it was like Nikki Bella was there. No, I think it was
Oh,
Netflix. I'm sorry. I
it's
think it was
Raw.
Netflix.
Yeah.
The Raw Netflix, yes. Macaulay Culkin was there. Like they had all the, you know what I mean? Like
That makes
they,
sense.
yeah, right. In that sense, I could see it. They had Nikki Bella there. They had all these old wrestlers and celebrities. Like that makes sense in a debut like that. But like, do I need to see that at the Royal Rumble? Not really.
Something like me and my dad's talked about on our Raw reviews is like for instance for like the Netflix debut, it made it feel bigger. Like, you watch a
Mhm.
UFC event in between
Right.
fights to show these guys, but like, do you think they do it too much to where it's not as special?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I would if you gave me less of it, the more when I did see it, I'd probably appreciate it a little bit more.
Okay.
Now I think it's just watered down. You know what I mean? It's every event, every
Do
time.
you do you think like for instance they show off a lot of like if there's a rapper in the crowd or if there's a athlete in the crowd, like that I think makes sense.
Yes, that I like. I love the
It's cross promotion. It's what we're doing now.
right. I love the fucking Halliburton from the Pacers being involved with
Yeah.
all of the WrestleMania. I mean the Royal Rumble stuff in Indianapolis. You know what I mean? I thought that was good. I like it. I don't know if you remember the interaction they had with Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. I was
Like I think it was a few months back.
look back. Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was fun. And like small things like that, I think make a huge difference. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite things about like Jey Uso, for instance, is having him come out with I believe he came out with Travis Scott and then he came out with Quavo. Like
Yeah.
they're in cities
He
all
came out with Lil
around.
Wayne before. And
Amazing.
I
Bro,
think it
I
was it
loved it.
WrestleMania? Was it
Yeah.
WrestleMania that he came out with Lil Wayne? Yeah.
Yeah. So like that makes
Lil
sense.
Uzi too. Came out with Lil Uzi once, I'm pretty
Did
sure.
he?
Yes, I'm almost certain. I think it might have been him and Jimmy, but I know he came out with Lil Uzi at one point as well.
But you got to think in every city there's a major rapper in every
Right.
one. And that's his niche kind of.
Right.
So like that makes a lot of sense. And that's probably another reason Jay's so over is he can
Right.
attract that audience. And like nobody else is going to like for instance Travis Scott on Raw when he came out. Nobody else is going to be allowed to walk out with a marijuana cigarette, a vape, and a beer in his hand. Like they're just
Right.
you're not getting away with that. But Jay is so over.
That it's just like whatever. And you know that apparently that was like not that wasn't even planned. He just did it. Travis Scott just brought that out with him during the entrance. And when they got to the back, there was just no heat for it. They were just like whatever because it was Jey Uso's entrance.
Yes.
What are we talking about? Travis Scott smoking
Yeah.
on
I
How'd
was
you
Raw.
just talking
know?
about yeah.
I heard Jay Uso's entrance and no heat, and I was like, oh, it has to be about Travis.
Yeah. We were saying how somebody like how somebody like Jay can get away with like being with all these celebrity rappers and stuff like that, part of his entrance and stuff. Because we were
For
talking
the
about like we were pretty much saying I personally don't really care to see legends like WWE legends at events, but I definitely think it's cooler when you see like rappers and athletes and stuff there, or like any musician artist and athletes specifically.
I do think I do like it. I think the Jey Uso thing is like him being with all these rappers and stuff. It's very like it's a very good way to kind of get other people to come check out and tune in. So it's cool that Jay's able to do that. But I will say that the celebrities and athletes thing can get oversaturated. Like, and
I agree.
you know what I'm saying? Uh, I get it for like big events, like having like the celebrities like be a part of it, either the go home before or anything like that, but or at the pay-per-view itself. But like when you sit there and you like for instance, like the Raw Netflix debut, 4 matches, I think it was 4 or 5.
Five
Um,
matches, yeah.
yeah, and then what? Maybe if in total the celebrity cameos was like maybe like 30 minutes. Like and it's cool. I
Probably.
get it. I get it. It's cool to like, for something like that, it's the first night to show like, hey, like the stars are out. We did this. This is big for us. Um, but it can become oversaturated. I mean, look at the like the celebrity guest host era. Like uh when they were doing that, like it was like, why do we have all these celebrities here? It's taken away from like match time, promo time, and stuff like that. So it's a good and a bad thing. It brings people's attention, but at the same time, it takes away from potential time.
That's that's how I
That
feel about Speed being at the Rumble yesterday.
I, any bad criticism. So, and I'll just touch on this really quick. Any bad criticism I've ever had about Speed being annoying or anything went out the window last night because he
Because he was
took
entertaining. He
those
took it.
bumps
He
like
might
a
have took
champ.
the second most devastating spear I've seen, other than the one that Braun Breaker hit Reigns with. That was insane.
Yeah, those are
I thought he
the
broke Reigns in half.
That was yeah.
Speed did a backflip, turned around, and got demolished.
And you see Braun Breaker charging up the spear like
Charging.
as he yeah, and then he just whams into him. That was like Christian
It's
Goldberg levels of a spear. Like
his
folded
neck
that
snaps back, bro. Like I'm
dude,
surprised he didn't get whiplash.
dude.
You
And
That
then to
was
know,
take
I was
Speed calls himself the fastest streamer. So like, I thought it would have been really cool if him and Braun ran the ropes. Braun did it
oh
faster, and then
yeah.
Braun cracked him mid-run.
Oh
Imagine.
man.
Because, I mean, if you want to
I
prove you're
don't
the
think they wanted
fastest,
I don't think they wanted this guy dead on TV, man.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That would have been
But
it.
like
momentum just
Speed's gimmick, his whole gimmick is I'm the fastest streamer. Braun Breaker apparently runs 23 miles an hour when he hits them ropes. If we go off what Michael
jeez.
Cole says, so
Right.
like visually speaking, I think it would have been the best representation. I did
I
enjoy what
agree.
they did.
It was a
I
good
loved
point
it.
when he was in there.
Yes. But it was just like I was like, if you really want to like help him and help you, you should have went for what his gimmick was. And then his audience would be like, okay, he's gonna race Braun Breaker. Oh shit, Braun Breaker just killed him. Like it would. I thought that's the only critique I had out of the whole thing was like I just wanted to see him race. Like we're gonna have Speed on here. I want to see him race.
Man, I thought him taking the table bump was hilarious too.
That was
And when
rough.
he got thrown out the
Oh
ring.
my, that look.
At first, I thought he
Otis
was just
caught him.
gonna land on it, and then he was just gonna sit there, and then somehow get back in the Rumble.
They they did a post interview with him and
Okay,
he was on crutches, had the neck
neck
brace
brace.
on.
No, of course.
Yeah.
He
He
cut
was
his
walking.
ankle. His ankle was like
Yeah,
cut.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's walking and they're like, how did you feel? He's like, it's terrible. I don't know why I did this. He's like, I'll be back. He's like, I'm coming back the next Royal Rumble. He's like, you guys think this is a game? He's like, I'm gonna actually start training now, and I'm calling out everybody. Saying he's coming back next Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
He's
Do
athletic,
you
bro. I don't know. He could do something in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, he's done some crazy stuff too. Like
with
I've
some
seen some of
training? I
his.
think he could be really good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. He's very athletic. He is fast. I do think that speed. It's like Bad Bunny level of like, if he trained,
Yes.
he could be really well as a like
Yeah.
a
And
athlete or
Bad Bunny
celebrity.
surprised the hell out of me. Every matches he has had
Yeah.
has
It's been
surprised me
great.
more and
You know
more.
what's
And
funny is speaking of Bad Bunny, my fiance last night when we was watching it, I think it was after the speed spot. She asked me about like Bad Bunny, and she was like, I didn't even know he was a singer or a rapper. Like she's like, I thought he did something else, and I was like, is it because he was in these wrestling matches? Because he did what three? He was in a Rumble,
Mhm.
the tag team match, and
Oh,
then the singles match.
right. Yeah,
Mhm.
sounds about right.
So like, I was like, it's crazy that
He
like
did two
she
Rumbles, I think.
so he was in four matches total, two
Yeah,
rumbles, tag team. So like, and he's been in the video game. I think that's where she saw him was I was
yeah,
playing 2K and he was in the video game. But like,
right.
I was like, I forgot my point. I'm not gonna lie.
You said you were talking about
That I think your
you that you didn't
fiance.
know she didn't know Bad Bunny was a rapper, and
Yeah,
she thought
yeah. She thought he was a
he
like
did something
maybe not a
else.
wrestler or something like an
Right.
athlete.
And then she was gonna tell you something in the middle of I guess she was telling you something in
Yeah,
the
she
middle.
just was like it was really like surprising that like they do these kind of spots pretty much like that.
Right.
Because Logan, for one, is crazy. Just when you think of all the stuff he's been into,
Right.
so like Logan just being in WWE is insane if you think about it. Like
I
when
agree.
I was a kid, Logan Paul was the biggest YouTuber on YouTube.
Right.
So like now for him to be in WWE, I have mad respect for him, even though I don't like everything he does, but like I
Right.
respect it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
So
because it takes a lot to really be in
yeah.
that industry,
And he's
to be a
good.
wrestler.
He's so good. Like that's the
Athletic.
hardest part. I was like, he's it's the athleticism and the talent that Logan has to only have had 7 or 8 matches is insane. Like it shouldn't
yeah,
work that way.
yeah. I feel the exact same way. Dude is a freak. Like, and I mean that in like a great way. Like he's doing things that I don't even think like
People
a
take
lot of
years to
wrestlers that,
learn.
yeah, like, and I applaud him. Like, I'm not, don't agree with a lot of the things he does, like he said, but dude is great. Then dude has, he has the look. He has the look.
He has
He can
it.
cut a promo. Yeah, he can cut a promo. He can do everything. And when it comes to wrestling, so kudos to him. Like, hats off.
What was your
Um,
guys' favorite part of the Rumble? The men's Rumble.
Penta, Penta.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All I can
And
say is Penta. Penta and Jacob Fatu were the standouts in that Royal Rumble to me. And the more of them I can see, I will take it.
Mhm.
Penta at moving at WWE speed, he's fitting in perfect. You know what I mean? He's keeping it the way that they want it. Um, it's probably better for him considering his age. Um, I kind of felt like he might have been falling off a little bit when he was in AEW, but I think maybe it was because of the type of matches he was attempting to do. I
Mhm.
think him slowing things down is making it easier for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I mean him and Ray is great. All this Cero Miedo moments last night with who else did he have when was it with Jacob Fatu that he had a moment with?
Thanks.
Or who
So
was it that he had? He had another moment with. He
there
had
was a
like three
couple of them.
moments in the
Yeah.
whole Rumble where he kept doing it, and it just was interesting. You know what I mean? And he was my favorite. I would have loved for him to have been like in the final like two, in my opinion.
That'd have been
Um,
interesting. He
yeah,
got 42 minutes, which is, I think, 42 or it was 40 something, which
yeah,
for a first
it's
Rumble,
great.
especially like a month in, is great. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
rare that WWE gives somebody that kind of opportunity.
I agree. I really liked the first three, it being Ray, Penta, and then Chad Gable because
Oh,
of his entire storyline going on Raw. You know what I
I
mean?
was
uh,
I was
but
about to say something about that. Like
Yeah.
I thought it would have been cool if Ray, Penta, Chad Gable, and then had Andrade come in,
yes.
and then Santos Escobar come in, and then Dragon Lee come in, and then he's stuck in the ring with all
All
the
of
luchadors. And like his whole gimmick is how do I face luchadors? And then he's in there with all of them, and like it would have just been great.
I actually thought Dom was gonna come out four, and I thought it was gonna be Ray, Penta, Chad, and then Dom. And I
Oh,
thought that would have been kind of cool, considering the little interactions they've been having lately, Chad and
it's
Dom.
weird we didn't have a Ray and Dom spot this year. Usually there's at least one in the Rumble, especially since
Yeah,
Dom's
I
turn.
think they want to go away from it. I mean,
That's fair.
they've they
I mean,
probably
you
have
could
done
always
it
come back.
once within 1 year, you know.
Yeah.
But I like I said, that was my favorite moment was just Penta being Penta, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
the Penta showcased a lot. That, if there's anybody that pulled away after Jay for taking the win, it's Penta. His showing was great. Coming in as number two was awesome. Having that long, like 42 minutes, I believe you said, like just awesome. Just Penta showcase. If nobody was watching him on the Raws leading up to this, like they're watching now, like 100%.
Yeah. If I had to pick a moment, I'm gonna be honest, it's probably the Punk when Punk came out, and like the reception Punk got was insane. And then in his entrance, he doesn't even fight before Rollins comes out. Everybody sits there and soaks in the CM Punk pop. And then Rollins comes out and the pop is heightened. And then you get all of them guys in the ring at the same time fighting it out. And that was at that moment was probably, I don't want to say that peaked my childhood like attitude of watching this Rumble, but it started it. And it was like, okay, now the ball's rolling. Now things are getting interesting. Like I think that's when the mood of the Rumble changed, and that was I think my favorite moment for sure.
That's when you realize you were like I'm watching like a real like a because
Yes,
let's be honest, Rumbles have not been great. I can't I when would you say is the last best Rumble like good Rumble that you sat through
Drew
like
McIntyre won
which was 2 years ago?
2020.
Oh,
So Brock runs through the first half of the Rumble,
oh, and then Drew comes in, Claymore
and Drew
kick.
comes in. Yes,
Yeah,
and that one had your nostalgia pops. Like MVP came back. I think John Morrison came back. There was a couple more for that one too.
yeah,
But you had the moment with Keith Lee and Brock. Um, Ricochet like having his moment with Brock was really interesting, and then like Drew really earned it, so it made it mean a lot. And
yeah.
then I
It was
mean that card I think was probably the best Rumble card. Also, just having the Fiend versus Daniel Bryan and things like that. So like maybe it's just the 2020 Rumble itself as an event is probably the
mhm.
best one since maybe this one.
Yeah. I can't. Oh, Bat says he's having issues with his computer.
I think
Okay.
he's gonna
He
try
just
to re jump
restart it.
back in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, unfortunately with this Rumble, I wasn't able to watch a lot of it. I was like running around trying to gather all the tickets for the raffle we did at the event. So I was able to peek in, but I was like making sure because we did the raffle right after the Rumble. So I had to make sure all the tickets were in line and stuff like that. So I caught glimpses here and there. That punk pop was crazy. And I think it's very
right.
telling that they're in Indianapolis, so you're gonna get all those all the Chicagoans to go pack into
Yeah.
there. But Punk is a star. I wasn't fond of him being the choice because a lot of people were like, he's gonna win. That was
I thought he was gonna
everybody's
win.
yeah. And I wasn't I it to me is kind of like what Eric was touching and based on with Charlotte winning. Punk doesn't need a rumble win. That Charlotte be returning, I feel makes sense.
I
Uh,
disagree.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you.
What?
You know
He's
why? Can
never
I?
won it, man.
He's never
It
won it. That's the only reason why. Charlotte has won it before. Um, that's why I feel like she doesn't need it as well. But Punk, my thing with Punk and him winning it was he's never had the main event at WrestleMania.
Punk
Now,
also always fights from underneath. Charlotte, is the queen. She is the
right.
queen, Charlotte
she's
Flair.
gonna be there.
Punk is always the underdog, no matter if he's champion or not. We always perceive CM Punk as the underground champion. Like he's always
Yeah.
the guy that uplifts the misfits and the you get what I mean. So like
Yeah, yeah.
Punk winning the Rumble is just okay. It's like to steal a phrase from when Michaels won the championship of WrestleMania, the
The
boyhood dream
boyhood
comes
dream.
true. That's what that is. Punk always won the WrestleMania main event WrestleMania, and the Rumble is the ticket. So like he has to win it eventually.
Yeah. And I can in that like I can understand that. Yeah. I think the only reason I say that Punk doesn't need it is because I think it's evident, obvious going into Mania. Um, he's gonna have a big match. I don't know who it is. I don't, that's for sure already
Triple
taken.
threat. I'm gonna call it now. Triple threat. Him,
I don't
Seth
want a
Rollins,
triple threat,
and
man.
Roman Reigns.
Who eats the pin though? I heard that too. Who
Seth.
eats the pin?
I don't.
Seth.
But why do him? Seth has been eating pins for the past like year,
You
practically.
know, you know what
It's
makes
a
the
character,
most
buddy.
sense? The most sense is to not put Punk in that. To have Punk go up against Cody. Honestly, to have Punk versus Cody, and have Rollins
Mhm.
versus Reigns. Don't have
Rollins
Cena
and
win. Don't
Reigns.
don't have Cena win the Chamber, and have Cena's WrestleMania up in question. Will we even who will Cena face at WrestleMania? Because if you give him the belt now, what does Cena do the rest of the year?
Fair.
Good point.
That's
Yeah.
the only thing
That's
with
fair.
Cena winning or going
That's
into
fair.
Mania.
The year
It's
should
young, man. It's so young. What
he
do you do
should
the
kind
rest
of
of the year?
if we're going that way, I think Cena wins the belt in like October or
August,
November,
October, SummerSlam.
something.
Like,
Survivor
or
Series.
what would be insane is if I know it. I think it's a rumor right now, but Saturday night's main event is going head to head with All In.
Yeah, I did see that.
Cena
It's in
wins
March,
on
right? I think
Saturday,
we're May,
July.
July. Yeah.
Imagine Cena wins on network television and takes the views away from All In.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, if they
Nathan
want to,
doesn't
if
like Nathan doesn't like that one happening.
no, I'm agreeing with it. I was thinking about it. But I'm cooking up a thought, a question in my head, which
Okay,
is if we go that route and Cena wins the belt later, who do you put Cena up against at Mania?
Randy Orton.
Thank you. And that's the answer I was looking for. Everybody was asking, who's Cena go against at Mania?
I
Who's
think it
Cena?
has to be Randy Orton. I don't think
There's
there's
nobody
any other
better.
option.
Nobody better. Nobody
Yeah.
better.
I mean,
And
yeah, because
It's
he's
the
gonna have his
history.
matches. He's gonna have his matches with, Gunther at some point, CM Punk at some
That's a
point.
fairy
Like
tale. Like
this is well, there's honestly no reason for Randy and John Cena to be in the ring together at this point of their careers, which is why doing it at WrestleMania would make sense because it's just a showing.
it's
You know what I
it's
mean?
the
Like,
showcase of the
right,
immortals, and
exactly,
no rivalry in either man's career matters as much as them versus each other. Honestly
right.
speaking, there is no John Cena, or there is no Randy Orton without John Cena, and there's no John Cena without Randy Orton. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen that way.
yeah, and
Right.
not to mention the chemistry between them is probably perfect. It's probably,
And it's been years. We haven't seen it in probably since 2017. I think was the last
Yeah.
Randy Orton, which we've had 1,000 of them.
Mhm.
But at this point, John Cena's run, if we're being honest, is a nostalgia run. Where it's his
Yeah,
final run. We're running on nostalgia. What better way to peak that nostalgia at the biggest show than to have him face his biggest opponent?
Right.
yeah.
I'd even put Cena in the Hall of Fame this year and have Orton inducting, it'd be a showcase of good sportsmanship all around. And they just go out there and have a good John Cena Randy Orton match for 15, 20 minutes and give the fans what they want. Have Cena win. Orton's still going to be here next year. It doesn't hurt him. So, like, just give Cena his win over Orton. They shake hands. They love each other. Let's move on. What's next? Cena can chase the title now.
Yeah. I see. Thing is, knowing how Cena is, I see Cena putting Orton over.
Yeah.
That's
I was
fair.
just gonna say that.
You know, that's been Cena's MO.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he went through this entire last tour and just
without winning. He just puts everybody over until he wins the belt.
Oh yeah.
See him losing all the way until he wins the belt. Do you
Right.
think Cena gets the Grand Slam? Do you think he wins the Intercontinental Championship at all this year? No.
Nah.
Think that'd be in his one accolade he never gets.
Yeah, I think they just stick to him beating
Yeah,
Flair's,
I think the
Flair's record
17th
as
title
the
means more than them making him a Grand Slam champ. And I'm gonna be honest, I'll say you another one. I don't think Sheamus is ever getting that Intercontinental title either.
I think that's a shame, though. I think it's a shame.
For Sheamus,
he's been on the hunt. He's been on the hunt for it for so long, and I don't think he'll ever get it.
You know, with that said, and it's something I actually pitched just recently with a fellow podcaster, but I don't understand why they didn't just let Sheamus win it at Saturday night's main event and then lose it back on Raw. Like, you could have just had him win it just so you get the pop. Nothing ever happens at these Saturday night main event shows. Give him the belt. Let him drop it 2 days later. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. Sheamus gets his accolade. Breaker gets his win back, and I think championship reigns on Raw they're not interesting right now. Like, I don't care about the world title, honestly. I don't care about the Intercontinental title. I don't care about the Raw tag team titles, and I don't really care about Rhea winning the women's world title. Lyra Valkyria might be the only championship win that I was like, okay, she deserves it.
I wish Dakota would have won it, but then she got hurt, and I was like, this is kind of why she didn't win it.
She gets hurt too much.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because Dakota's pretty good.
She's amazing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Everything on Raw right now
it's just Raw.
I'm more interested in the people without belts.
Like Punk and Rollins and Drew and
Penta.
Jay, Penta, Chad Gable.
Even Chad, right? Yeah. I'm a lot more interested in those guys than I am in any of the actual champions.
You know who I am most interested in, honestly, in the Raw roster? Karrion Kross.
Me too.
This
is very sudden, like creeping his way into some interest. Because I don't know if you guys have seen that where like everybody that interacts with Karrion Kross like becomes
downward
unhinged.
Spiral.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's like a whole Nate, if you haven't seen it, I would say just kind of look it up. It's
like a meme of it, I'm pretty sure, where it breaks it down. Yes.
Anybody that he's like had a small feud with has pretty much like turned heel. Like
I think it starts
Kofi
with
Kingston and Xavier Woods.
The Bloodline, technically.
Wasn't it? Wait, who?
The Bloodline, if you think about it.
Yeah. Yes, Bloodline. That was the first interaction.
Then Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
The Miz. They broke up with R-Truth.
Right. There's another one I can't think of. Damn it.
I think he feuded with Ray before the Dom split.
Yes, he feuded with Ray, and then that's what made Ray snap on Dom after Dom was like taunting him and stuff.
So this has been going on for a while.
And then AJ Styles before Styles.
Yes, AJ Styles then turned heel. Like, this
has been something
that's been going back.
Nakamura too.
Yes, Nakamura was one of the more recent ones.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's getting interesting to me because now he's got an interaction going with Sami Zayn. And Sami
Zayn just lost at the Rumble.
Right. And he just haluva kicked Cody Rhodes and was it Jey Uso?
Rollins.
Rollins, Seth Rollins.
Twice.
Right, exactly. So there's something there, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if didn't he have a Mania match last year? Wasn't he in
with Bobby Lashley?
It wasn't like a 3-on-3.
Yeah, the Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross versus the Street Profits and Lashley.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Bubba Ray Dudley was the referee.
Special referee, yes. And I wouldn't be surprised if this year at Mania he got an actual singles match.
Sammy versus Karrion Kross.
See it? No, we're gonna get Sammy and Kevin Owens.
Really?
I'm tired of it, man.
Fight forever, please.
It's good, but
it's
too much. They've already had 2 Mania matches, I think.
Yeah, this is just tossed out. If Sam, I wouldn't mind seeing Sammy versus Cena. That's the thing. That's a random thought, but it's a random match. But that's a pretty good match if you think about
it. Cena goes over though.
In that case, yeah. I think if he plays into the heel and Sammy being heel and being unhinged now, I do see that happening. If they go into sportsmanship,
right now too. Who? John Cena's on a losing streak. He hasn't won a match in like 2 years.
He's gonna keep doing that.
I think like 2,000 something years. I mean, not 2,000 years, 2,000 some days. Like I think since his last singles win, and then he did win a tag match, I think with Owens on SmackDown a couple years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
It was that year he didn't wrestle all year until December, and they was like, this could be the first year Cena doesn't wrestle.
Right, versus wasn't it against Roman and Solo?
Yeah, and I think he pinned Solo, and it was right after Solo beat him at Crown Jewel, or before.
It was before.
And
that was what starting their feud.
Rivalry feud
that led up into that Crown Jewel. Where Cena pretty much got buried.
Yeah. Do you see Cena losing all year? Do you see that actually being something that happens?
Yeah,
just like that.
Yeah, I think he puts everybody over. You know, it's the MO of his thing. I think somebody who understands the business really well, and he understands, like, you know, he had his time of winning, so let me start putting the young guys over. Let me return the favor for the guys that did it for him. And I also see it being like a storyline. He's brought it up. He's used it. I think as soon as he came back and cut that promo, he said, you know, I haven't won a match in this many days. You know, blah blah blah. So it's already the little hints are there. But yeah, you have him do that, and now he's dropping hints that, you know, it's the best interest to put the belt on me. So you have him lose, put everybody over, beats Cody, right? That sparks John Cena was the one Cody was the one person to lose to Cena finally. He takes his belt, and then it fuels that fire fuels the fire for Cody to become a heel.
You think Cody wins it back?
No, not right away, at least. I think
you
Cody
know what I'd like to see is Orton win it from Cena.
Oh.
And then Rhodes and Orton
go at it.
Fight each other for it.
Have they fought yet?
Nope.
No.
It's been hinted at so many times, but
heel Cody versus face Orton is, I believe, more interesting than face Cody versus heel Orton.
100%. Because
nobody wants Orton as heel anymore. It's hard for Orton to be a heel. We love the RKO.
Yeah.
And he's just too big. Something about
he can only be a heel if he's going to use the punt. He can only Orton. Or I don't like Orton being a heel unless his finisher is going to be the punt. When he used to kick people in the face.
Yes.
That's it. You get me? It doesn't get more heel than you kicking somebody in the face.
Well, and it worked when he returned with the Legend Killer gimmick. And he was punting everybody on Pandemic era Raw. It worked. And then any other iteration of heel Orton, like Authority heel Orton, he was a lackey. Even Bray Wyatt stable heel Orton was just weird. It didn't make sense. So, the best version of Orton is either young crybaby heel Orton or the Apex Predator Randy Orton. Yeah.
I think there's also, they can get into the bag of Cody being a heel, so Cody bringing up the whole resentment for Orton. I was with Legacy and blah blah blah, and this is
You
what
held us
happened.
down.
You held us down, and at Mania what happened. So
Do you
there's
think
definitely.
do you think in that instance they bring up like Ted DiBiase Jr. not even being in the business before because of? Because you could blame it on Orton, because you got to think going out of that stable, they probably thought Ted Jr. was going to go further than Cody.
Yeah, and
then
nothing.
Ted Jr. left, and now they could even bring up now he's in a jail cell. Like,
yeah,
he went from star to incarcerated type thing.
I don't think they want to bring up anything relating to.
Well, I mean, DiBiase's dad was on Raw recently, so I mean, they're not shying away from the DiBiase family.
Yeah,
and I mean, they bring up Fatu being in jail.
That's true. Fatu was definitely just said that on Friday Night SmackDown.
It was just like he's the most dangerous dude.
The difference between me and you was I was in a box. on that with Damian Priest. That was actually so good though. The way they went about bringing that, yeah, really, really, really big Jacob Fatu fan.
I was really this is his year?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see what his WrestleMania match is going to be.
Do you think at the end of this year he's a champion?
I think he holds
at least the United States Championship.
I think he's going to end up on Raw. When is the draft? When did they do the draft? After WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Did they do a draft last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They did.
It was not much change though when they did the draft.
Oh yeah, because they had
Carmelo keeps saying I'm your number one draft pick because he was the number one draft pick for SmackDown.
Yeah, and they brought up Lyra. That's when Lyra came up. Right. They announced that Odyssey Jones was still on Raw, even though he hadn't been seen in 2 years.
Then he finally made an appearance and then got let go like a month later.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like with Jacob Fatu though, I'm so curious as to like I could see him going after the Intercontinental and holding
him versus Breaker is money. Him versus Braun Breaker is where the money is at.
I think that would be a good WrestleMania, post WrestleMania, like you know what I mean. Now
imagine if they built it, maybe not for Mania, but it's been a while since the Raw after Mania meant something, and they never really tell you what's going. Like you just show up and the Raw after Mania happens. What if it was like, okay, we got these two bulls, and there's not a spot for them on Mania, which could fuel them. And then they go on the Raw after Mania and they tear the house down.
I can see that 100%. My whole thing right now is like when it comes to Braun Breaker and that IC title, there's a lot of people up in the air. Like Penta just had a segment with him. You get me? He had a stare down with Jacob Fatu at the Rumble. He's already been. They're hinting at Ludwig getting some opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many guys in that division for the IC belt. And it's kind of like, you know, who actually gets the win? As many times I want to see Penta get it, but if I see Penta get it, that means I probably don't see Jacob Fatu get it. So where does Jacob Fatu go? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many options. How do you approach that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'll take Penta. IC run.
I see that. I see that not in a perfect world, but I see a triple threat between Braun, Penta, and Jacob. I see that being a triple threat match. Then I would not be surprised if that happens either at Mania or some point after, depending on who's the champ. Yeah, that's three guys that can all go. They're all hella athletic. They're all, I think that's a real, but then that begs the question, like Eric brought up, or not the question, but if Penta gets it, then Jacob technically loses. Jacob gets it, then Penta technically loses. And then you burn, you basically, I mean, there's ways to save it, obviously, but like you burn that momentum down.
And
for
then
these two
you kind of
guys.
ask yourself, which one of these two are we pushing first? And now it's just like, you know what I mean? Like,
You could, I mean, you could also go into it and you can, say like maybe, yeah, I don't know who you give the WrestleMania moment to at that point. Like, do you give it to Jacob or do you give it to Penta? But then you can go into like a feud with them, with those
who
two.
knows? Maybe you give it to Braun. Braun hasn't had one yet.
What? A WrestleMania
WrestleMania
moment?
moment.
What? And uh,
One of them.
beating both of them
Walks
or one of
out
them?
both.
Maybe.
Walks in champ, walks
Maybe.
out champ.
Yeah. I mean, because WrestleMania can't be the
Yeah,
night where everybody wins their titles. Not
that's
everybody
true.
walks out brand new. So
Right.
Yeah.
There's got to be some people that retain. I'm telling you, I think
breakers.
Cody will. If we were to go through the list of champions and you asked me who's retaining, I will tell you Cody is retaining, I think, against whoever. Um, US champ, no. Women's champion Tiffany, I think she'll lose it. I
Rhea
mean, I
retain?
see, huh?
Does Rhea retain?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I think she retains.
What about the War Raiders? Do
No,
they retain?
I think if it's against Io Sky, she does not retain. But if it's not Io Sky, then I think she retains.
Okay.
I'm on that. I'm on that only because Triple H is just such a big like Io
No,
Sky
he is.
person. You know what I mean? And you see it. So like the push is there. But he's also a really big Rhea Ripley person. So I think if it's Io, Rhea loses. If it's not Io, Rhea retains against whoever.
I got a question. There's a big up in the air about somebody in AEW leaving, that their contract has not been renewed. And he's a big WWE Triple H guy. That's Malachi Black. Could you see Malachi coming in and taking a title off of like a Shinsuke or a Braun Breaker right away? Statement known, Aleister Black is
No,
back.
no.
Bro, I could.
I could see. Okay, you know what? What I could see happening is his first appearance is the lights going off on on a champion. What let's say it's Braun, for example. Lights go off. What's this? Malachi's there. You know what I mean? Pops up. And then a little bit of build up. Probably first match could be something of that nature. I just don't. My whole thing is like I don't see Triple H's booking being like that. I don't think he's capable of booking a new talent to come in and just be a champion right away. I don't think he's something he wants. You know what I mean? He's to me he's
I
pretty
mean,
big
he's
on
done it
making.
though. Like with Jacob and the Tungans, as soon as Jacob
Yeah,
showed up, they won the tag titles. And then with the Machine Guns,
they won yeah, that's
3
true.
matches in, win the
But
tag titles.
I actually think that happened on accident.
Which one?
Both of them, honestly, because I think he was trying to spice up the tag team division and said, "Let me try to do something different," and that's what happened.
I mean, that could be said
Because
with the U.S. or Intercontinental divisions, though. Like they need spice.
Yeah.
IC,
They're dry,
I don't
man.
think needs spice. The IC, I don't think needs spice. US, yes, because man, I've looked at that SmackDown roster, and that SmackDown roster is so small. There's not a lot of competitors.
It's small, but it's stacked. You have your Andrades, Carmelo Hayes,
Right.
Jacob Fatu's, Braun Strowman's. Like all these guys could be champions, and that's just to name a couple.
Damian Priest now too.
Damian Priest, Kevin Owens, like
Right.
any of these guys could hold any title on that roster. It's a shame, LA Knight. Like it's a shame that the U.S. title just sits in the background of a Jimmy
I
Uso
agree, because
walking
when's
second.
the last time Shin even defended it?
Yes, you got to think AJ Styles is back. That's another guy.
Oh yeah.
So like the name's going. Orton's going to come back. Orton's on SmackDown. Like
Right.
it's a stacked roster, but is it utilized?
I mean, you think there's even people back there that they don't use, period. Like Apollo Crews, Santos Escobar. You know
They're
what I mean?
excellent.
Like why not? They're just there in catering, chilling. They got literally Apollo Cruz's gimmick right now is him hanging out in catering, watching people um mess around with other people and he's snitching on them. You know what I mean? Like he
He's
literally
a
was like,
SmackDown snitch.
right, exactly. He's literally like, they didn't do that, they did that. Like that's his gimmick. He's done it like 3 weeks now, you know? So
I feel
like
like
I
with
don't know,
him,
there's more
he
that
was
could be
about to
done.
get. I feel
Where's
like with
Omos in all of this? Wait, where is
yeah,
Omos in all of this? Man was just in Japan doing a bunch of work.
he
Where
said he
is
was
he in
coming to
all of
WWE.
this?
Yeah, he said
Right.
he told Noah that he's coming back to WWE.
When and where, bro? I ain't seen that man.
Yeah,
I thought he would have came out yesterday.
yeah,
I'll be
yesterday would
honest
have
with
been the
you.
time to do it.
Okay, but this will be. I got two more Rumble questions. One, out of the Rumble, what do you think was the biggest missed Rumble return out of the whole night, other than AJ Lee?
Man,
That's a hard question. I'm thinking though.
I'm trying to think of who would return. Who would return? Who do we
Right, that's
have?
what I'm
Who
thinking.
do we have on the sidelines
Who's
that's
I mean
not?
The Rock. The Rock maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll
The
give
but
you
Rock.
the. And this is in a perfect world. Big E Langston.
oh, somebody said that last night. Somebody said there needs to be an Xavier and Kofi
I
toss
pitched
everybody out.
this just because in wrestling, the only times the word never is used is when it's going to happen. Xavier Woods' exact words was Big E Langston will never return to the ring. So he can pretty much keep his punk self over there.
Right.
There's no way he says that. And
Big
Big
E
E
would
does
have been good,
not
man.
come back. And he does
I love
not
Big E.
smash Woods and Kofi.
I think his presence is like him being not on the roster and like not on TV. You can feel
It's
it
felt.
almost.
It's felt.
Yeah, I
There's a
really like
hole.
Big E. I like Big E. Me personally. I thought he had a decent championship run.
It could have been more. I think
He
once
could have
again,
done
Brock
more.
coming back was BS, and him taking the belt
Yeah,
was
man,
bullshit.
that's again, the more to the reason I don't need that man back. Let that man rot somewhere, man.
Let them rot. I agree. And also to chime on the Biggie the Biggie thing, like New Day didn't feel the same after Biggie
Right.
left. It
Yeah.
felt like it,
Been
like it was
stale.
something missing. Yeah, it felt like something was missing. And I'm not to discredit, Kofi or Xavier, but
It's Xavier though.
you
The
said what?
trio is better than the duo.
Yes, correct. I mean, yeah, they're still funny. They still had their great segments. They were still getting the New Day Rocks chants and stuff like that. But up until now, with the whole heel turn, no, there wasn't really much there. Like, there was I can't
They're
name.
outdated, dude.
I wouldn't even say they're outdated. I just feel like it's like the trio's better than the duo. So I can't sit there and name anything crazy that's happened since the heel turn that the New Day's done since Big E left. Big E was taken out.
I
Like,
agree.
Xavier I think Xavier had that little run, I think, where he was
King of the
or was
Ring.
that before Big E?
That
Where he
was
was
before
trapped.
Big E left.
Was it before? Okay, then
It was before he left, but they were separate. Like they wasn't. That was
he
the draft happened. Big E went to Raw. Kofi Woods
yeah,
were on SmackDown,
that's
and
what I'm
Woods
thinking
tried to
about
do
that.
his solo thing and
Yeah,
won the
didn't
King of the
work.
Ring.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about. But then I can't think of anything that's happened for the New Day as a duo other than this heel turn since Big E
There's
left.
not much. That's why. I mean,
You know,
I agree. That's
and
what I'm saying. Big E was a big part in that. I mean,
but
I'll be honest. When they were with Odyssey Jones, there was a little bit more interest developing there.
Yeah,
the third man effect.
the
You need a
third man
big
effect. I
you need
think
a big man.
Kofi and Woods work better, not when they can play off each other, but when they can play off of a third person.
Yeah,
Because like
I
if you
agree.
think about it, before even New Day started, Woods was there. He was doing his like dancing gimmick. Kofi was there. Kofi was stale. And then you add Big E into the fold. Something about Big E that just makes them all different, and the charisma from all three men just explodes.
Look at I mean, yeah, the charisma from all three. Just to throw more like power to Big E's way. When he was first coming out with a Dolph, right?
Yeah, Dolph and AJ.
Yeah.
I was immediately, my eyes were like, who is this guy? He's a freak of a human. Like, I need to see more of him.
Like, he's just huge, bro.
He's
huge. That his chest is mad. I think that's what it was. Yeah. He's just huge, big.
He had a match with Cena, I think, like during his first when he first came out, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Immediately.
He beat Rollins for the NXT title too. That's something that gets lost a lot in like NXT history. But yeah, he beat Rollins for Rollins to come up and do the Shield stuff. And so like that's something I like paid attention. I like really paid attention to Big E throughout his NXT run because like when the network first came out, NXT was like still like one of the coolest things on the network. And Big E and Bo Dallas and Adrian Neville were like my three favorites.
Oh yeah. What's that chuckle, Eric?
Nah, Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas. I just laughing about Bo Dallas. Believe
it was good though. It was so bad it was good.
Like he just cracks me up all the time. I was using the Believe like GIF meme for Bo Nixon this year in NFL. Whenever I was betting on the Broncos to win.
You know something that wasn't brought up and that I thought it was really funny online. This year marks the 10-year anniversary of Curtis Axel being thrown out of the Royal Rumble. Well, not being thrown out of the Royal Rumble. So technically, Curtis Axel put on there that he's the only man to be in a Royal Rumble for 10 years and never has been eliminated. And like just bringing up Bo Dallas made me think of it because they had their little thing.
Right.
Yeah, he's somebody that I miss. I'm not gonna lie. Something about Axelmania was great.
I remember when they did that segment with who was it, him and Ryback when they broke up. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that video.
Yeah.
In that backstage segment when they broke up, and for some reason that video is stained in my brain. So I have appreciation for Curtis Axel for that.
Do you guys have an answer for who was the biggest missed Rumble surprise this year?
Oh, no, I forgot that was the original question. Yeah.
Biggie. I think did you say Biggie?
Yeah, I went with Biggie.
I'm gonna agree with that's a good
Rock. I'm gonna still stick with The Rock. I think there's been
boss.
a lot of things about The Rock that have been rumors, and none of it has lived up to any rumor.
I think the only problem, or not even the only problem, I'm trying to figure out how to word this properly, but
Matt Cardona.
Oh, that's a good one. That's actually a good one.
I really thought he was going to show up. I'm not, even if it's just a one-off. Cardona's everywhere.
I like Matt Cardona. He's funny.
I do too.
Him in the Indies right now is so decent because he's able to adjust. Yeah, I respect him as well.
That's really where I'm not going to say I like Cardona, but I respect Cardona.
Yeah,
I respect what he does. I respect him as a person. I respect his work. Like is a strong word. It's kind of like Logan Paul. I respect Logan Paul. I do not like Logan.
I get that.
I think Cardona when he left Cardona, I was big on him when he did the whole Zack Ryder thing. I have a Broski shirt somewhere hanging. I could probably find it. I love that. I love that time. That was like a great era in wrestling. But anyways, back to Cardona. I liked him then, and then like when he went stale for a little bit, and then he went to the Indies and made such a big name for himself on the Indies.
Right.
I had like a highlight for me that really stood out was him doing the whole Nick Gage feud. And calling himself the King of Deathmatch and all that. Like, to me, that I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna give you all your flowers. Like, I liked you. I thought you were great as with the Broski thing. And then he came to the Indies and he did great, made a name for himself, and it's awesome, and I loved it. But then he stepped into a death match, and to me, like, everybody has their own takes on death match, but like, if you're willing to go in there and do that type of match and that type of work, like, and that's not what you usually do, like, hey, hats off, like, you got my respect, because that's not something that, not everybody does it, and I can see why. Some people don't take chops, some people don't take light tubes, and probably never will even think about it.
Right.
So yeah, Cardona got a lot of respect out of me for that one. So him coming back at Rumble would have been a really like a top moment.
Yeah.
And just to chime in about what you said about The Rock, the only way to possibly make The Rock come back and at the Rumble and make it very entertaining, because I mean he's gonna get the Rock pop, right? He's gonna come out and people are gonna lose their minds.
Right.
But him calling himself the final boss, and this is just probably like dream booking, have himself enter himself as 31. I'm the final boss. I can do what I want.
Yes. Right. I
show himself right 30. I'm 31.
I saw that floating around on like X and stuff, and I thought that would have been a perfect way because it feeds into his character of being able to do what he wants. When he literally told the ref, "If you ring the bell, you're fired," because he was going to get disqualified. Like, it works. First ever 31st entrance is The Rock, the board, a TKO board member.
Imagine Jey Uso wins. And then his music hits, and The Rock comes out 31 and says, "No, no, 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 no. This is not over. It's over when I say it's over."
Right.
And then you could even have it like, because Jey uses some of The Rock's move. He does the smacks and he spits in the hand. Imagine him doing that back and forth. Just the things that they could have did together just for a second.
Right.
I mean, and even, if The Rock, let's say even just for fun, let's say The Rock doesn't even win. Jey somehow, that would put his cousin over even more. And if The Rock beats Jey Uso, who's really going to be upset The Rock beat Jey Uso? That's if you're going to go out, you might as well go out to The Rock.
Yeah, what you can, and there's so much you can do with that. You let The Rock come in, and maybe he demolishes Jey right at the end. This is my company, blah blah blah. And if you still want to go that route at Mania, and you want to still do Roman versus Rock, that sets that up. That's a potential way to set that up too. You can leeway that in. So that fantasy booking, but that would have been crazy in a great way. Like, the place would have blown up. Or you have John Cena eliminate The Rock. You have The Rock come out as 31. You still have Cena in there with Jey, and he goes, nah, and The Rock shoots himself in there. No, it's not going to end like this. I'm number 31. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you.
It makes sense because the last time they faced off, Rock bottom Cena.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it definitely fits. And again, place would have blew up. You put The Rock in as 31 in his own little world, and that place is going to erupt. That place is going to just blow up. So
let me pick your brain about something, you guys. I just saw something online. I saw two things actually, but apparently Drew McIntyre is slated for WrestleMania. It's supposed to be going up against Damian Priest, and there's kind of nothing on the line. You know what I mean? And apparently like Drew is like extremely upset because he felt after the 2024 that he just had that he should be given a more prominent match on the card.
So
Drew would even make sense. Like, let's say we're going with the triple threat option. Let's say we're going with Punk, Reigns, Rollins. Why not make it a fatal four-way? And the other man who's been in the mix of those three.
I could see that.
If you're going to give all four, Priest. Exactly, because I like Damian Priest.
I hate him.
I like Damian Priest. The aspect of I like what he does in the ring. In the ring, he's really good. Character-wise, I'm not for it. None of it makes sense. He's not scary. You're not big. Like, you're big, but you're not a dominant force. Like, nothing about you scares me or makes me threatened by you. So, like, why should I care?
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, Drew hates Punk. He hates Rollins. He hates Reigns. And it goes the same way for all the other three men. They all hate each other. Why not? If you don't have a title match for them or a marquee match against The Rock for them, put them together. Let them go down. It doesn't matter at that point who takes the pin, who gets the win, because it's going to be a marquee match for all four men. And it doesn't really matter who wins as long as they're all four there and they tear the house down.
And that would tear the house down. I think that's a great way to save that. Not save because the triple threat's good, but that's a great way to showcase, everybody, get everybody their spot. Because I mean, at this point, we're going in. I know we're in the road to WrestleMania now, but all those guys, I don't really know what they're doing. Nobody really knows where they're gonna go for Mania. So that kind of gives them all, other than Drew and Damian. But like, we don't really know what Roman's gonna do. We don't really know what Seth is gonna do. We don't know what Punk's gonna do. That's that kind of sets it up. Unless they throw Logan Paul in there, because Logan Paul eliminated
He'll be in there. Logan Paul will be involved somewhere down the line.
Let Logan Paul fight IShowSpeed at Mania and give him 10 minutes.
I would not be surprised if Triple H books that. I would not be surprised. That would not surprise me at all.
And then they also
go ahead.
And they also just announced that Alexa Bliss is going to Raw. So I think that
the Liv Morgan.
I think that's definitely a motion. Apparently they're saying that Alexa Bliss wasn't even supposed to be there. It's a last minute thing. It was supposed to be Shotzi.
Yeah. Okay.
She took a spot from Shotzi.
I'm gonna pitch something. Going back to The Rock. What if this final boss character stopped benefiting just The Rock and benefited somebody else? And he brought in what he perceives as the most dominant force in the Bloodline dynasty and put over Zilla Fatu. And The Rock for 6 months to a year was just the mouthpiece and the I don't want to say the ringmaster or like the puppet master, but he helped pull the strings to get somebody like Zilla to the top of the card.
I can see it. I mean,
and then that would
they
be
still
his
have
way.
another. They actually have another Bloodline member that is apparently right. But I guess I saw that he was going to be not involved at all. Like he's going to go to NXT or something like that.
Yeah, I saw he was going to go to NXT and they was going to call him like Tala Tunga or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a waste of a spot because Hikuleo is bad. Like he's badass, Bullet Club member. Like why not put him with the Gorilla's Destiny where he belongs?
Right.
Yeah. What
I don't know.
That brings the question though. If you bring Zilla in, right, and the Rock brings Zilla in like as his if he doesn't bring him in as like you said, bring him to the front top of the card, he brings him in as his enforcer or something like that. That's also a type of way to do that.
I was just thinking it'd be a way for Rock not to ever have to wrestle. Because that's always the thing with Rock is like they don't want him to get physical because he does so much out of WWE activities. So like it could be a matter of just fly him in for a Raw, let him do his spot, and then he fly off to somewhere else. And then, every 2 weeks Rock shows up, or every 3 weeks Rock shows up, puts Zilla over, helps him get in another opportunity. Zilla knocks it out of the park. And like eventually it leads to like, maybe Zilla taking down Solo, Zilla taking down both Tungans, Zilla versus Jacob. And then finally Zilla saying, okay, Reigns, it's your turn.
Right.
Yeah, having go through
with the lineage of Zilla being Umaga's kid. And the WWE universe still loves Umaga so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a full, like, obviously he'd be a heel, he'd be angry and mean, and they could put it over as he's this badass, kind of like Jacob. Like, you could play into the things that he's gotten to outside of the ring and just make it feel like, why is The Rock helping him? And at the same time, it could just be The Rock giving the rub to one of the youngest members of his bloodline that probably has the most potential.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
That's a way to streamline like a big push for Zilla, because I feel like the way that they keep bringing in, or the way that they brought in Bloodline members, they always
same formula.
It's same formula, 100%.
Copy and paste.
But the only Bloodline member that I think actually has shined is Jacob. Like, and not to take away from the Tongans, but like,
I'll actually want to disagree with you slightly, only slightly.
You think the Tongans got a good?
I think Tama Tonga specifically has been decent, decent reactions, because this man got his little chant over, bro. When he goes, yeah, to people, the crowd does it as well. That's the only thing I'll disagree with you on. I agree with you that Jacob Fatu has probably been the shining moment, but Tama Tonga is a little over.
I'll go a little further back, and I'll say initially when Solo debuted and came up to the main roster, it was over, and it was a big deal. So
and then I don't know what happened with that. What happened?
People turn on characters, bro. That's
Solo went from.
They shifted his character too much. If they would have kept him the street champ, I think it would have worked. But you made him Roman like.
You made him Roman like, and then you started giving him this.
We didn't want that. You can't have his whole bloodline be dominant and scary, and he's walking around with a fake mafia glove on and a red shirt saying, "I'm the mafia boss." And you've lost all year long. Like, there's nothing about you that says I'm the boss. Like,
they could have.
Your only win was to John
Cena. I think he should have beat Roman. I think he should have beat Roman. I think if he beats Roman, you have a story, and you can stretch out. You can stretch out the bloodline even longer.
Then you can now Roman has something to chase, and right now in this scenario, Roman's the babyface.
And I'll say this. I don't even like him as a babyface right now, because that man never really apologized to anything. He did not ever tell Jey Uso he was sorry. Never told anything to Jimmy, Sammy. You get me? And he went right back to trying to chase his belt. Man has not changed, and he's the same Roman. And I hope somewhere down the line they pull this back and they go deeper into the story of that, because one of the big conditions that Jey Uso had for working with him was, you got to apologize to me, and he never did.
I think that sets up the power trip. That sets up the power trip that he gets when Roman gets a belt again, and he immediately discards everybody. Tells Paul, "Hey, come, we got stuff to do. We got business," and everybody else is in the dust. That would definitely fuel it.
Right.
100%.
I just noticed what time it is, so I'm gonna ask one more question, and then I gotta go, guys.
Yeah. Definitely.
Going out of the Rumble, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from this year's Royal Rumble?
Either Rumble?
Yeah, well, the show as a whole. Like, where do you think we're going from here?
I mean,
Jey
Uso world champion.
That's it.
Jey Uso world champ. Cody's not losing that belt anytime soon. I mean, they're
Cena's
setting it up
chasing.
And Cena's just gonna be chasing. I think Jey is gonna be Jey. You know what? I have a take.
My stuff froze for some reason.
Jey is gonna get the treatment that Seth Rollins should get.
Are we talking like 2019 Rollins wins the Rumble and they make him beat Brock Lesnar type treatment?
Yes, but I think he'll. So what I always say about Seth Rollins is, even in his prime, even when he was at his best, even when he was carrying the belt, the company was never on his shoulders.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He was never the face.
It's gonna be on Cody's shoulders forever.
Right. He's not the guy you send out to ESPN to be on SportsCenter in the morning. You know what I mean? But
that guy, or the WWE champion will be that guy.
Right. And they do that with Cody. They do that with Punk, and Punk's not even champion. You know what I mean? Like, I think they will do that with Jay as the world champ, and I think he will be at like football games. And it's crazy because Seth Rollins goes to football games. When he was the US champ, he brought the US championship to some Bears games. Yeah. And I think with Jay, why I think him winning the Royal Rumble was such a big deal is because I think that's where he's headed, to where he'll get the world championship, and we'll see kind of like how Liv Morgan was with her title. She was at movie premieres and stuff like that.
Become a media star.
Yeah, like he'll probably do a little bit more media, especially with the Yeet thing. You know what I mean? Like probably be on some streams. Rappers. I could see him being on Speed Stream. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like with the world title. Like I can see something like that.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway from the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine.
You got anything to add?
One word: unpredictability.
Yeah.
That's because, like I said, we do not have any clue where we're headed going into Mania. We know that Jay's got a title shot. We know who our champs are. We know Charlotte's got a title shot.
We know who deserves a match, but not what match.
What match they're gonna get, where they're gonna be put.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with WWE right now is we just gotta watch. Like they're so good at telling a story. Like just me and my dad talk about it every Monday, but just sit down, enjoy the ride, because you don't know where it's gonna go.
Right.
Yeah. Which is
every time you think you got to figure it out,
they swerve.
They said Alexa Bliss wasn't coming back. She came back. Like
they say John Cena's gonna win. Jey Uso wins.
Right.
It's a good thing because we've known everything that's gonna happen for the past few years. Like it's been very like predictable with a lot of cases. Oh, I froze again, didn't I?
Yeah, it's fine though. Just keep talking.
I hear you.
It is what it is. It's last question, anyways.
I froze. I cut off. I don't know where I left off.
We're good.
You're talking about unpredictability.
Yeah. So they like I feel like we've known where Raw, what's been happening. We kind of already knew. We knew Cody was gonna win last year. We thought Cody was gonna win the year before that. Right. Which is. But, you know what I'm saying? We've known everything. We've known what the story's going to be. I don't agree with a lot of Triple H's booking, but yeah, like we don't have any clue, not a clue of what's going to happen. We don't have anything what to expect for Mania other than the fact that Cena's wrestling. That's all we have. And like our two championship matches for the Women's Rumble and Jey Uso. So yeah, there's some, like you said, you got to sit back, enjoy the ride, and watch. And I think that's the way. The unpredictability is what Triple H is using to bring people to watch and to actually stay tuned and pay attention. So yeah.
Okay. Guys, I just want to say thank you for joining me today. I'm excited. We got to do this again soon. This is fun. This is my longest, other than my live streams, my longest video yet. So this was fun. I'm glad to have the Wrestle friends on here. I'm glad that we all love wrestling. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again.
Definitely. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to collab more. Definitely got to do this again, like you said. 100%.
I think 2025 is the year that Wrestle Friends and ILWPOD, maybe we change the Chicagoland perspective on how wrestling is.
Right. Hopefully, right.
I'm down.
Okay. Let's do it. I'll leave it at see you guys later then.
All right.
Awesome. Salute, brother.
See you.